You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1249. 1249 Chapter 295 Soaring into the Sky 1. On the Battle Dragon stage, the winds and clouds were surging. The flames were reflecting. As for Su Yu, at this moment, he was in a daze. It was as if he had opened his first divine aperture. His consciousness left his physical body and floated in the air, looking down on his physical body. A strong wind blew past. The flames were burning. Su Yu's consciousness was in pain. He was a little speechless. Was this a phenomenon? Scram. No, this was heavenly punishment. This wasn't giving him any benefits. This was taking his life. Fortunately, he, Su Yu, wasn't a weakling. The willpower tempered by the 180 God apertures was also incomparably powerful. The days and nights he was killed had also tempered his tenacity. The God expanding technique was forged and tempered over and over again, making his willpower even more tenacious. At this moment, in the void, flames were falling one after another. They were going to destroy his sea of consciousness. Su Yu's will began to return to his physical body. The next moment, he opened his eyes and the orifices in his eyes opened. His eyes were like the sun and the moon, bursting out with a resplendent radiance. The heaven Yuan Qi was constantly being absorbed by him to forge his body. And at this moment, his sea of consciousness was also constantly churning and shaking. In the sky, the range of the abnormal phenomenon's radiation was even greater. 10 meters, 20 meters. On the entire Battle Dragon platform, water and fire began to gather. Zhu Tiandao's voice was heard. How is it? What's going on? Should we stop? No. Su Yu did not stop. At this moment, 180 divine apertures were flashing non-stop, extinguishing the fire and water that were attacking him. The small hammers were hammering away. This was an injury to his willpower. These fire and water were hurting his willpower. However, every time he shattered a spark, Su Yu's willpower would receive an increase. A strong wind blew past. After being shattered by the small hammer, wind character divine script gradually took shape in his sea of will. The impact of the heavenly water was once again shattered by the small hammer. The heavenly water flowed in his sea of will, and the water character divine script was instantly outlined. This was an opportunity. It was also a disaster. If his willpower was a little weaker, he would be killed by these things. Without the soul expanding technique, he might not be able to destroy these things. However, at this moment, these things could not do anything to him. He still had a trump card. Some of the remaining heavenly water and astral wind were instantly devoured by the little hairy ball. These little things could not do anything to him. His willpower continued to grow. There was a call to arms. The earth shook, shaking Su Yu's physical body, shaking his sea of consciousness, and the earth word took shape. Someone could not hold down his weapon. The weapon flew over and shattered in mid-air, turning into streaks of sharp light that broke through the void and charged toward Su Yu's sea of consciousness. In the surroundings, trees extended and roots extended, wanting to attack Su Yu. This was not a gift from heaven and earth. However, Su Yu treated it as a gift. He stood up and his divine aperture erupted. With a flash of light, he shattered everything. You're not going to advance my level. These things seemed to be preventing him from advancing to the sky. Su Yu also did not expect that the 180 divine apertures as one would actually cause such a situation. Previously, the 360 yuan aperture as one did not have such a situation. Why? The art of war appeared. His body was still absorbing the heaven Yuan Qi as his body became stronger and stronger. The absorption speed was extremely fast. Heaven and earth did not allow the 5 elements to become one. Suyu fell into deep thought as he looked at the sky. His entire body was emitting golden light. Why? What was wrong with the 5 elements becoming one? Why did it not work? Boom! Thunder rumbled. Suyu's thunder word divine text met the attack head-on as thunder rumbled incessantly. At that moment, more and more yuan qi gathered in the air. Willpower was gathered, and there was even a faint gathering of heavenly yuan qi. The entire battle dragon stage was enveloped. Suyu's Wenbing flew out of the stage and shot out. Divine text erupted as he met the tiny figure that was gradually formed from the yuan qi in the air. 5 elemental tiny figure. Fire figure, water figure, wood figure. Formed from yuan qi, willpower, and heavenly yuan qi. At that moment, he had transformed into a human figure and was charging downwards. Suyu frowned as he controlled the literary soldiers to rapidly engage in battle. The explosions continued. Divine runes that were half real and half illusory condensed and charged towards the sky. The sun and moon appeared in the surroundings. Zhu Tiandao and company surrounded the surroundings. Zhu Tiandao quickly sent a voice transmission, isolate the outside world. What's going on? This doesn't look like a heavenly blessing, but more like a heavenly punishment. Niu Baidao's eyes flickered. I'm not sure, it might be related to some rumors. After the great apocalypse, some things didn't see the light of day. It's not that they were lost, but that they couldn't appear. Is Suyu cultivating a divine art? His body and primordial orifices have long become one. It can be considered a divine art. Then I'm not sure. The sun and moon didn't know what was going on either. As Zhu Tiandao commanded, he transmitted his voice. In the next moment, a small mirror in his arms trembled. It was a pair of mirrors. Zhu Tiandao's expression changed slightly as he quickly transmitted his voice, be careful. The sun and moon have infiltrated. The sun and moon cultivators around were slightly shocked. The sun and moon were coming. They could not hold it in anymore. However, Suyu's situation was out of their expectations. This was not a fake phenomenon. It was real. It had messed up their hands and feet. The few of them did not say anything. Now was not the time to deal with the sun and moon. Zhu Tiandao shouted, spread out. Don't get too close. It's all normal. Suyu might be trying to deduce an immortal soul aperture. Heaven and earth do not allow humans to have immortal soul apertures. Everyone, remember Suyu's sacrifice today. As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. An immortal soul aperture. Heaven and earth do not allow it. He is trying to kill Suyu. What the hell? Doesn't God allow us to stop cultivating the primordial spirit? It's normal for us to go against the heavens and directly awaken the primordial spirit. Is Suyu alright? Man or head, you guys are so powerful. Break those things. Someone shouted. Zhu Tiandao shouted, if the primordial spirit doesn't emerge, Suyu will be able to hold on. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1250. 1250 Chapter 295 Soaring into the Sky 2. Just find an excuse and forget about it. Even if the primordial spirit aperture was exposed and people paid attention to it, it would not interfere with the invincibility realm so as to avoid causing too much trouble. The situation was already so big. It would not make sense if they did not find a proper reason. At that moment, yuan qi swept over from all directions. It was not to help Suyu break through, but to hinder the manifestation of his willpower. In the sky, numerous small figures formed to fight against Suyu's divine runes. The scene grew larger and larger, and the coverage grew larger and larger. In the crowd, an old man looked up at the sky in shock. Heavenly punishment. Was the primordial spirit aperture really that important? Was the human race going to cross the Yuan opening realm, which hindered the human race, and reach Tianjun in the future? Just like the powerful races in the universe, just like the gods and demons, from now on, they would directly reach Tianjun. Primordial Spirit Aperture. Did the Primordial Spirit Aperture have any other uses? When Su Yu brought up this concept, someone had mentioned Bai Tianhao. Ling Yun had killed mountains and seas, and he had even killed someone at the 7th level of the mountain and sea realm. Would the Primordial Spirit Aperture be able to unleash even greater power? Would it not only be effective for the weak, but would it also be beneficial for the strong? He wanted to observe. He wanted to investigate. In fact, he couldn't hold it in anymore. The sun and moon seemed to appear in his eyes, but he didn't dare to look too closely. He could only vaguely see Su Yu's entire body glowing with golden light, as if he was a god of war. His willpower was extremely strong, and he was fighting with divine runes. Damn it! Damn it, damn it, I can't detect it. The old man was anxious. Could an immortal soul aperture allow someone to fight someone of a higher level? Opposite the old man, a woman was also anxious. Let me see. Bastards, why did Zhu Tiandao and the other bastards seal off the void so that she couldn't see it clearly? Where was the Primordial Spirit Aperture? How to open it? What benefits would there be after opening it? Would it be effective against the sun and moon? Would opening the sun and moon increase one's strength? Darn it, Su Yu was actually able to discover the location of the Primordial Spirit Aperture. Even if he did not pay much attention to it initially, who would dare to not pay attention to this heavenly punishment now? It was definitely something good. Gales continued to sweep over as Yuan Qi continued to gather from all directions. At this moment, a cloud floated over in the sky. The next moment, it was destroyed by the chaotic Yuan Qi. Large amounts of heavenly Yuan Qi exploded and leaked out. What the hell? Zhu Tiandao cursed inwardly, who activated that thing. This was a phenomenon that they had created. Someone quickly said, we didn't activate it. It was triggered in advance. This place is crazily absorbing the surrounding Yuan Qi and heavenly Yuan Qi. The secret array formation we set up has been shattered. This thing leaked out by itself. Helpless. We didn't want to. In order to cover it up, the array formation they set up was just a feint. In the end, it was absorbed too much and broke itself. And at that moment, someone shouted from the crowd below, this is a phenomenon, a real phenomenon. Good heavens, heaven's blessing and heaven's punishment have come together. Heaven's punishment has defeated heaven's blessing. This Su Yu is about to become a saint. Oh my God, what is that overflowing Yuan Qi? Why does it feel so powerful even from a distance? F*CK, that's heaven's Yuan Qi. 10 threads is almost the amount of a heaven's Yuan fruit. I ate it when I was young. Some disciples from large families exclaimed. Heaven's Yuan fruits were not unfamiliar to everyone. Everyone who had read a lot knew about this. Su Yu had also discovered it in a book in the past. At this moment, this fake phenomenon had been extracted too much by the real phenomenon. A portion of the heaven Yuan Qi had seeped out, instantly causing people to feel shocked and heartache. F*CK, so much of it has seeped out. How did the golden color disappear all of a sudden? Idiot, ignorant and incompetent. The moment the heaven Yuan Qi comes into contact with the Yuan Qi, it will instantly turn into ordinary Yuan Qi. What a waste. There were more and more people coming from all directions. More and more people were swarming over. Those who were watching the show, those who were shocked, and those who were shouting, had learned a lot today. This was the first time in their entire lives. I heard that it is possible for anomalies to appear when a genius breaks through. Back then, when the manor head of the great Xia manor, Xia Longwu, broke through the mountains and seas, anomalies would appear from the heavens. Yuan Qi would rain down like rain, but it isn't that exaggerated, right? Su Yu, does this mean that he will definitely become an invincible expert in the future? The discussion grew louder and louder. And at this moment, Su Yu's expression was solemn. He constantly polished himself and his willpower was firm. His small hammer rumbled out as he fought against the little people in the air who were getting stronger and stronger. It doesn't seem like the heavenly punishment. Su Yu couldn't describe what he felt. It was more like something had been unsealed, causing the rules to appear. Vaguely, he had a thought. The 5 elements formula was originally one entity. However, it was too powerful. In the past, it had been divided into 5 sets of formulas. Could it be the ancestors of the 5 elements clan? But the ancestors of the 5 elements clan could still punish the humans. The rules of the 5 elements clan couldn't control the humans, right? If this happened in the 5 elements realm, it would be normal. But it wasn't normal for it to appear in the human realm. Could it be that this is still a human cultivation technique? Su Yu had a vague idea. It was impossible, right? Or could it be that the human realm was very glorious in the past? This cultivation technique was given to the 5 elements race by the human race, but the human race had divided it and rewarded it. He didn't understand the situation. It wasn't caused by the 180 gods aperture, but by the combination of the 5 cultivation techniques. Otherwise, Su Yu had opened the 180 gods aperture before. This time, he was punished by the heavens. This meant that it had nothing to do with the gods aperture, but with the cultivation technique, because the cultivation technique was related. Su Yu didn't care about this anymore. At this moment, he suddenly broke through the air. A golden figure was revealed. It swiftly defeated a small figure and instantly fell onto a cloud. It was a fake phenomenon. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1251. 1251 Chapter 295 Soaring into the Sky, subscribe to monthly 3. This was something he had spent a lot of heaven yuan qi to create. He could not waste it. He opened his mouth and swallowed it. The cloud surged into his mouth and countless people saw it. Some people said with envy and jealousy, "Damn, this fellow has cast a body to absorb heaven yuan qi to cast a body. He struck it rich. His body is already golden. How many times has he cast a body? His body is already very strong." At this moment, the experts who were watching in secret also widened their eyes, wanting to see something. As for Su Yu, he swallowed the cloud and quickly descended, returning to the arena. F***ck. Someone cursed silently. "Come out and let us see." Zhu Tiandao was also shocked at this moment. He transmitted his voice, "Be careful, all of you be careful. F***ck, 3 suns and moons have infiltrated. There are still 6 mountains and seas. All of you be careful, be careful. I'm worried that we will attract more people and can draw in the net, but Su Yu isn't done yet. What should we do?" 3 suns and moons had arrived. It had only been a short while. If this continued, would it attract even stronger experts? He was feeling a little uneasy. Just as he was thinking, Su Yu had swallowed a large amount of heaven yuan qi. Suddenly, he let out a low roar as his limbs turned completely golden. The golden color rapidly spread. Body forging. Yuan qi swept wildly in all directions as the 360 acupuncture points were crazily absorbing it. As for Su Yu, he did not waste any time. Countless yuan qi liquids were thrown down as yuan qi rained down. He absorbed and filled his body. In his mind, the divine text continued to outline. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The second fire divine text was no longer the fire from before. Instead, it was a real fire divine text. It was not a heritage divine text. After successively outlining the 5 elements divine text, before that, he had successfully outlined the wind divine text. 17 divine runes. At that moment, Suyu had instantly reached the amount of 17 divine runes. Large amounts of heaven Yuan Qi and Yuan Qi were absorbed by him. Suyu's body was casting faster and faster. The first casting was almost complete. As for his willpower, it was also constantly churning. There were signs of it. There was no primordial spirit aperture. At that moment, Suyu could vaguely sense that there was an aperture in his body that was about to be opened. However, it was somewhat difficult and obstructed. He did not open his primordial spirit aperture. Suyu didn't care anymore. He couldn't be bothered with these things and continued to forge his physical body. The commotion was also getting bigger and bigger. In the air, the little flame people and the little golden people were defeated by him one after another, but they showed no signs of stopping. 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Rumbling sounds continued. And there were still no signs of stopping. At this moment, Zhu Tiandao and the others continued to send voice transmissions. It was troublesome. Even more people were attracted. There were 4 Sun-Moon realm cultivators and 9 Mountain and Sea realm cultivators. Some of them might not be from the Myriad Clan sect, but were experts who were traveling nearby. At this moment, they were attracted by the commotion and rushed over. Half an hour later, the first Sun-Moon realm cultivator arrived. Manor Head Zhu. What's going on? An expert called out from the distance. Zhu Tiandao recognized the other party. An expert from the Great Song Manor, who was further south, replied, "It's nothing." Suyu broke through to the soaring heavens realm. "It's nothing." That sun and moon man was speechless. This was a small matter. Your family broke through and soared into the sky like this. Do you need help? No need, Director Song. Please do not enter the city to avoid causing a misunderstanding. Zhu Tiandao said in a clear voice, outsiders from the sun, moon, mountains, and seas, please do not enter the celestial capital manor. After this, I apologize to all of you. It's not appropriate to enter the city at this moment. Everyone, please do not make things difficult for me, and make things difficult for the Great Ming Manor. Although Director Song really wanted to enter the capital city to investigate, he still restrained himself. If it were any other manor, they would not allow any experts to enter at this moment. He could only reply, Manor Head Zhu, please do as you wish. We will not enter the city. Zhu Tiandao shouted once more, the mountains, seas, sun, and moon within the city, do not move randomly. Do not be chaotic, do not give outsiders an opportunity to take advantage of. Each of you have your own duties, and guard your own posts and regions. He had reminded him a few times that if there were any more hidden sun, moon, and mountains and seas, they could all be killed by the enemy. No matter if they were spies from other big manors or not, if you hid your strength and snuck in, you wouldn't be a good person. At this time, Suyu's golden body was getting more and more magnificent. Zhu Tiandao was a little anxious, and he sent a voice transmission, how much longer do you need? 3 hours. Suyu replied, I need to first take my body into the air, and then manifest my willpower. I need to cast my body twice, and then complete the second cast or even the third cast. With the materialization of willpower, there was a chance for him to quickly increase his strength. Suyu also wanted to save some time and complete the casting a few times at a time. Zhu Tiandao was speechless. How many hours left? Didn't this kid say that he would only use his physical body to soar into the sky this time? F***CK. If he waited a few more hours, many people would receive the news. An hour later. Outside the city, manager who stepped into the sky and said in a clear voice, Manor Head Zhu, my marquis is asking if there's anything he needs help with. No need, you are not allowed to enter the city. General manager who did not say much. He stopped outside the city and looked at the head of the great Song Manor. He did not say anything, but his eyes were filled with shock and doubt. Suyu. Was this breaking through the air? King broke through mountains and seas, sun and moon. General manager who felt regretful in his heart. It was a pity that this was a genius of the great Xia Manor. This fellow's breakthrough this time caused too much commotion. Was this a sign of invincibility? Previously, the Marquis and the others had said that Su Yu's sun and moon were unharmed. But looking at it now, he might really be able to achieve invincibility in the Tao. And within the city. At this moment, the citizens had also quietened down slightly. However, no one was willing to leave. They were all staring at the sky. More and more experts rushed over, allowing them to watch the show. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1252. 1252 Chapter 295 Soaring into the Sky 4. Although the experts were outside the city, everyone could hear the Sun-Moon Realm's voice transmission. This was the first time they felt that the Great Ming Mansion really had some face. The Sun-Moon Realm experts who had sneaked in were also speechless at this moment. There were quite a few Sun-Moon Realm experts outside. Even if they wanted to leave now, they didn't dare to leave rashly. Forget it, they would continue to lurk and be more careful. Once the matter was over, they would leave immediately. Did Suyu open his immortal soul aperture? No one cared about them. At this moment, Zhu Tiandao and the rest were not in a hurry. Since they had already lurked in, they would not be able to escape if they were targeted. Now, it was best to complete everything smoothly. Suyu successfully broke through the sky and then dispersed the crowd. He had to deal with them one by one. He did not want to alert the enemy now. If the sun and moon battle broke out in the city, the losses would be too great. Suyu could not care about the others. At this moment, he continued to shatter the heavenly flames and heavenly water. He washed his willpower, tempered his divine aperture, absorbed the shattered little people, and strengthened his divine runes. Such power would probably have killed the sky long ago when dealing with ordinary people. It was still a little lacking when dealing with Suyu. Suyu accepted all the benefits with a smile. 2 hours. Suyu's physical body was becoming stronger and stronger. The heaven yuan qi he had expended was slightly greater than expected. However, at this moment, his entire body had turned golden. Only his head was not golden enough. Casting was about to be completed. Once the casting was completed, he would be a true soaring stage cultivator. His head was also starting to turn golden. Gradually, his eyes, nose, mouth, teeth, and ears, were turning golden. Blood was rolling. His bones were changing. Suyu's expression was calm. He was not worried about anything. The sun and moon were guarding the perimeter. If this could cause problems, there was nothing he could do. It was the same no matter where he was. There was also Zhu Tiandao, who was at the 9th level of the sun and moon. If someone was trying to kill him, there was nothing he could do. At this moment, there was only a sliver of space that had not turned golden. The casting was right in front of him. In the next moment, Suyu swallowed a large amount of heavenly yuan qi. Boom! An explosive sound came from his body, like thunder, as his bones rang. The 360 acupuncture points scattered as golden light burst out. The casting was completed. And at this moment, the sky changed again. Clouds appeared and fell. They were even bigger than the fake cloud from before. The cloud spread, 10 meters, 20 meters. 100 meters. Zhu Tiandao and the others widened their eyes. Holy shit! There was really a phenomenon. This time, it was not a heavenly punishment, but a heavenly blessing. At the same time, the clouds turned into large words, cast your body in the heavenly cycle, the human emperor shall give you his blessing. As soon as these large words were written, all directions became silent. Large amounts of heaven yuan qi were rolling. But at this moment, no one cared. No, it's not real, it's the rules, the ancient rules. At this moment, the sun and moon in the outside world roared, the ancient rules are manifesting. This is the heavenly blessing given by the ancient human emperor. Heavenly cycle body cast. 360 yuan aperture body cast. Su Yu, how do you open 360 yuan aperture? Only when one is invincible in the Tao can one have the ancient human emperor's blessing. Can one even have it in the air? Some people were in disbelief as they roared loudly. The heavenly cycle body was actually bestowed with the ancient human emperor's blessing, causing the laws of the human realm to change. What did this mean? Some experts were shocked as they said, phenomenon, heavenly blessing. In ancient times, there were more than one person who had such a body. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any laws appearing. Could it be that all of the ancient geniuses had 360 heavenly cycle body? Su Yu. Su Yu knows how to open the 360 cycle heavenly aperture. They roared while Zhu Tiandao was also stunned. In the next moment, he roared, nonsense, what is this? Fake. We created a fake phenomenon ourselves, just for fun. F***ck. Who the F***ck believes you? Fake. How could your fake phenomenon be like this? At this moment, the words that were formed by the clouds instantly turned into heavenly yuan qi and swept towards Su Yu. The golden color was magnificent. The surrounding experts who were hiding felt their mouths dry. Heavenly cycle aperture cast body. It was actually like this. It actually triggered the appearance of the ancient rules. Su Yu was actually surprised as well. He was also shocked as the ancient times were destroyed. Did the human race really have an emperor? What about now? Dead? Why did they die? The rules were still there. Did they die or not? Or could it be that he had died a long time ago, but the rules still existed as long as the human realm was not destroyed? He did not know that it was too far away from him. He only knew that he had succeeded in casting his body. And at that moment, the heaven yuan qi that the clouds had turned into was extremely dense as it surged into his body. Su Yu could feel his body becoming stronger. Stronger and stronger. The casting was completed. Su Yu didn't stop. At this moment, his willpower could no longer be suppressed. In the next moment, with a resounding boom, golden light burst forth. Willpower materialized. Civilized master has advanced as well. At this moment, the others were also shocked. This fellow had soared into the sky today. Not only so, divine runes swiftly materialized in the air. Blood, lightning, destruction, slaughter, calamity. The newly outlined divine runes also appeared one after another. 2 fire divine runes. The divine runes flashed and disappeared rapidly. In the next moment, a large amount of willpower appeared out of thin air. In the sea of willpower, a large amount of willpower surged out to strengthen all the divine runes. The blood divine runes instantly advanced to tier 3. The lightning divine runes followed closely behind and also advanced very quickly. Su Yu's willpower was rapidly transforming as his divine aperture expanded. At this moment, clouds appeared in the void once again. There were fewer clouds than before, but this time, it was not heaven yuan qi but pure willpower combined. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1253. 1253 Chapter 295 Soaring into the Sky 5. Floating towards Su Yu. This time, there weren't any large words. Su Yu's heart moved slightly. What did this mean? The heavenly punishment from before was because of the cultivation method. The advancement of the 180 divine orifices didn't result in any congratulations on the rules. It was just a simple heaven and earth phenomenon. This kind of phenomenon had appeared before when someone entered the mountains and seas. This meant that the 180 divine orifices didn't receive the blessings of the ancient human emperor. This also meant that the 180 gods' aperture might not be the limit. Suyu felt that it was not as good as before, but this time, he was completely stunned by Zhu Tiandao and the others. Zhu Tiandao's expression changed again and again. He said loudly, "The willpower that we provided ourselves is not a phenomenon." No one paid attention to him. At this time, who would believe that you were a fool? Suyu, this fellow, had advanced in dual cultivation. There were actually 2 consecutive phenomena. No, there was also the first heaven's punishment. No, the first time, there seemed to be a cloud appearing. What kind of situation was that? He felt that the first time was not enough, so it appeared again later on. Everyone was in a state of shock. How could Suyu care about this? While the divine runes advanced one after another, his sea of consciousness was churning and expanding. Suyu did not care about this. At this moment it was also a good opportunity to cast his physical body. He had not completely digested the heaven yuan qi from the clouds just now. Quickly casting his body. When a civilization master advanced, it was a good opportunity to cast his body. At this moment, Suyu's aura was vigorous. His body was constantly being modified by heaven yuan qi, and an even denser golden color covered him. The clouds formed by willpower also fell into his sea of consciousness. As for the heavenly punishment from the beginning, it had already been shattered by him, turning into nourishment and being devoured by him. A few Tier 3 divine runes appeared, while the Tier 2 divine runes were also strengthening. The Tier 1 divine runes that had just been outlined were also advancing in the blink of an eye. The clouds formed by willpower were also being refined by Suyu. The heaven yuan qi was being devoured by Suyu as if it was free. After about half an hour, there was a loud boom. Second body cast. This time, it was shockingly fast. With the help of the favorable timing and location, Suyu quickly completed the second body cast. And his sea of consciousness was also beginning to reach saturation. Suyu did not care about this. The small hammer began to hammer crazily as it continued to expand his sea of consciousness, compress his willpower, and strengthen his divine inscriptions. As for his physical body, it was still in the body-forging stage. He had plenty of heaven yuan qi. At this moment, he wanted to extend the duration of this advancement so as to continuously give himself opportunities. When he advanced, some of the upper limits would disappear. Otherwise, it would be impossible for his body to be forged once every day for at least half a month. Second cast. This guy, opened 360 apertures, cast his body twice, and advanced his sea of will. Some experts were shocked. This guy's current physical strength probably exceeded 2,000 apertures. They weren't too sure if Suyu had completed 40 apertures as one, but Suyu had created a fusion technique. Was it possible for 40 apertures to become one? They weren't too sure about this. They weren't too sure if Suyu's 360 apertures had a self-sustaining cycle. If he had successfully advanced to the 9th stage of the 10,000 stones realm, Suyu's physical strength at this moment would be at least 2,000 apertures. Shocking. Normal warrior Dao geniuses, not to mention monstrous geniuses, would usually cultivate the 108 aperture Aries art. 12 aperture integration to the 9th stage of the 10,000 stones realm would normally have the strength of 240 apertures. In addition to cultivation techniques and martial techniques. They would also not have the strength of 300 apertures. Such a genius would normally cast 18 apertures, and very few would cast 27. After casting 18, the 9th level of the soaring sky would only have the strength of 1,500 apertures. If it was cast 27, it would not be weak. It would be close to the strength of 4,000 apertures. At this moment, Suyu had cast his body twice. If this fellow had advanced perfectly, he would definitely be able to tear apart an ordinary 9th level of the soaring sky genius. A genius cast 18 would not be a match for him. This was not even considered his level as a civilized master. At this moment, the gazes of the experts were strange. Some of them were looking at Manager Hu. This was a genius from their great Xia mansion. In the end, he had come to the great Ming mansion. Forget about the continuous introduction of the martial art amplifier. Today, his body had been cast and his willpower had advanced. This fellow could perhaps be seen as a weakling Ling Yun. It was not difficult for Suyu to fight across ranks. However, Suyu did not stop. He continued to cast his body. It would be best if he could complete the third cast. At this moment, the phenomenon was not over yet. This meant that his advancement was not over yet. He could still continue. I am not lacking in heaven's origin chi. I also have willpower. His sea of willpower was not saturated yet. He was not afraid even if it was saturated. The small hammer continued to hammer crazily. Suyu's willpower had manifested and advanced. At this moment, his strength was no weaker than the high-level rank 2. He was even on the verge of transforming into the top-level rank 2. Once he entered rank 3 willpower, his divine runes would also be at rank 3. He would also have enough divine apertures to open. He was a Lingyun realm civilized master. Of course, Suyu did not care about this. At this moment, the 17 divine runes began to combine and transform into a blade. They continued to absorb willpower, combine, and solidify into a true divine runes combat technique. And his physical body was covered in gold. After a long while, the heaven and earth phenomenon completely disappeared. At this last moment, Suyu's physical body shook once again. With a rumble, a thunderous sound was emitted from his body. Walala! The sound of blood flowing appeared. Bang bang bang. The sound of his heart beating could be clearly heard. It was powerful and powerful. On his body, black smoke was evaporated by Suyu and disappeared. The third casting was completed. The golden body began to recover its original color. Gradually, the golden color disappeared. Suyu returned to his original appearance. But at this moment, everything was completely different. Suyu stood still. Looking at the world, it seemed to be exceptionally clear. His willpower could do whatever he wanted. With a move of his willpower, everything within his range was extremely clear. After taking a few steps, he felt that his strength was extremely powerful. There were no signs of losing control. Clenching his fist, he felt an unprecedented strength. After casting his body 3 times, Suyu felt that it was much stronger than before. The explosive strength probably had the strength of 2,400 apertures. As for his own Heaven Yuan Qi, he had used up quite a bit. It was about 30 Heaven Yuan fruits. However, when the phenomenon appeared, the clouds contained quite a bit of Heaven Yuan Qi. This meant that the body casting this time had used up more than expected. It was probably close to the amount of 50 Heaven Yuan fruits. Suyu was not too surprised. His physical body was strong to begin with. Otherwise, he would not be able to withstand the explosive strength of more than 2,000 apertures. Compared to the same 3 casts of soaring into the air, his physical body was much stronger. The same 3 casts of soaring into the air. Even if it was a god or devil, Suyu was confident that he could crush his opponent with a single punch. Suyu stepped out of the small arena and appeared on the Battle Dragon stage once more. At this moment, everyone was looking at him from all directions, as if they were looking at a monster. This fellow was just soaring into the air. Why did it feel as if he was invincible in the path of Tao? The commotion was so huge that it was frightening. Seeing this, Zhu Tiandao and the others heaved a sigh of relief. It was finally done. This fellow, if he were to continue, they would be worried that something big would happen. However, after expending so much energy, they were only at the third cast. They were also speechless. This fellow was really a glutton. At this moment, Suyu didn't make a sound. It was as if he was waiting for him to speak. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1254. 1254 Chapter 296. One net is not enough, 10,000 more monthly votes, 1. Cast the body of the universe, the human emperor sends his blessings. 5 elements heavenly punishment, colorful clouds send blessings. This was the phenomenon of Suyu casting his body and breaking through the sky, shocking everyone. At this moment, everyone seemed to be waiting for something. And at this moment, without waiting for Suyu to speak, someone said in a low voice, cast the body of the universe's origin aperture. Suyu, after the great destruction, you are the first person to do so. This matter is extremely important to the human race. Can you tell me, have you opened the primordial spirit aperture? The exact location of the body of the universe's origin aperture. Suyu turned his head and looked into the distance. He could not see it clearly. The distance was too far, more than 50 li. In the sky, Zhu Tiandao and the others appeared. Zhu Tiandao did not say much. At this moment, he regained his calm. He said plainly, without this rule, don't talk about these useless things. Whether you say it or not, it is all based on your abilities and abilities. If you have the ability, make everyone invincible. Make all the secret techniques public. Make all the fortuitous encounters public. Make all the secret treasures public. Make everything public. Zhu Tiandao did not give Suyu a chance to reply. He looked around and at this moment, he was extremely indifferent. Everyone, you may look at it, but you may be envious. It's yours. That's what's yours, not yours. Don't look for trouble. Regardless of whether it's the heavenly cycle aperture or the immortal soul aperture, Suyu is willing to make it public. We should be grateful. If you're not willing, don't force it. Don't think that just because you're weak, you can bully me. Don't think that it's unfair if you don't make it public. I'll make all of you big clans make public the secret of how to become invincible. Is anyone willing? On the stage, Suyu raised his eyebrows slightly and didn't say anything. He originally wanted to say a few words. In the distance, someone said softly, Mannerhead Zhu, I don't have that intention. It's just that the heavenly cycle aperture and the immortal soul aperture are too special. Out of curiosity, I'm just asking. Previously, when Suyu spread the cultivation technique, it was beneficial to the human race. We will all remember this. If we can spread the heavenly cycle aperture and the immortal soul aperture again, Suyu will definitely leave his name in the human realm for all eternity. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, that makes sense. Then let's discuss it first. The immortal soul aperture might not have been opened. Suyu, did it succeed? No. Suyu shook his head and said plainly, it didn't open. Maybe the immortal soul aperture was not opened enough. The truth. Of course, no one might believe it. Where did the heavenly punishment come from? If it was not the immortal soul aperture, what else could it be? Suyu did not care about these things. At this moment, he did not think too much and did not say much. Since Zhu Tiandao was here and was willing to step forward, it would be better to leave it to him to do it. Zhu Tiandao said regretfully, it did not open. That's too regretful. After saying that, he looked around, he smiled faintly and said, everyone, regardless of whether it has been opened or not, there are some things that should not be forced. There is no meaning. I have already said what should be said. All of you are reputable people. I think you should understand what I mean. I understand Manor Head Zhu's intentions. The person who had spoken earlier no longer spoke. In the next moment, another person laughed and said, Manor Head Zhu, no one is forcing it. However, Master Su Yu's goal today is to promote the primordial spirit awakening technique. Previously, he has also released a few cultivation techniques that are beneficial to the human race. His achievements will last for 1,000 years. If the heaven revolving aperture technique can also be made public, I think that Master Su will definitely become an ancient talent like the king of the manors. Putting on a high hat. I won't force you, but I'll put on a high hat for you. If you pass it on, it'll be easy for everyone to worship you. If you don't pass it on, you'll be selfish. Su Yu understood this. He didn't ask who it was, and it wouldn't be too late to ask later. Zhu Tiandao didn't say anything either, and he quickly transmitted his voice to the sun and moon of the Great Ming Mansion. He said helplessly, the commotion is a little big. The heavenly cycle acupuncture point caused a change in the rules of the ancient human emperor, and it involved the rules of the human realm. These people probably won't give up easily. From another perspective, if he was someone from another mansion, such as Su Yu, who caused such a big commotion in the Great Xia Mansion, wouldn't he be tempted? Tempted. This was inevitable. Only Su Yu was in the Great Ming Mansion, so he could not care too much about it. He had long felt that Su Yu would not be able to escape once he arrived at the Great Ming Mansion. What was there to be afraid of? But now, the people from the other manors were tempted. Niu Bidao said telepathically, it's very troublesome. Now is not the time to offend them. There are still many Sun-Moon tier cultivators lurking in the city. If things really get out of hand, these fellows might just fish in troubled waters. If things got out of hand, the law would not punish everyone. Perhaps, someone might take advantage of the chaos to kidnap Su Yu. Zhu Tiandao knew this logic. He quickly said, we have to chase them away. On the city's side, we have to kill the chicken as an example to the monkeys. We have to end this quickly. Previously, we wanted to deal with them secretly, but now it's going to be difficult. Those fellows might not leave, and we still have to receive them. If we don't act now, those spies of the Myriad Clan cult might run away. Manor Head. Sun and Moon transmitted their voices. They said seriously, why don't we give up on killing those fellows of the Myriad Clan cult first? Otherwise, if we don't take them down quickly, it'll be easy for others to harbor evil intentions. Even if we do take them down, the Daming Manor's losses will not be small. Moreover, if we kill many Sun and Moon, it'll be easy for us to become the target of the Myriad Clan cult. Our Daming Manor shouldn't make too many enemies at this moment. We should cultivate our character. This was the rule of the Daming Manor. This was also the path of the Daming Manor that had been peaceful for so many years. Was he going to break this rule today? Zhu Tiandao was caught in a struggle and caused a huge commotion. It was unexpectedly huge. Killing some people in the dark, killing them in the form of fishing, and then spreading it out to intimidate everyone. Without personally seeing how the Daming Manor killed people, the Daming Manor would still be safe. However, killing with lightning-fast methods could also intimidate people. However, it would also expose the strength of the Daming Manor. Lowering his head, he looked down at Su Yu. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1255. 1255 Chapter 296, One net is not enough. A monthly 2. Heavenly Cycle Acupuncture Point, Mantra, Heavenly Yuan Qi, the Ancient Emperor's Gift of Blessings. One thought after another flashed in his mind. Choice. He was the head of a manor, the ruler of the millions of humans in the Great Ming Manor. Was he going to solve it with lightning-fast methods? A moment later, Zhu Tiandao made his decision. He looked outside the city once again. He said in a clear voice, everyone, let's wait for the heavenly cycle acupuncture point. It's not perfect yet. When it's perfect, the Immortal Soul Research Institute will naturally consider spreading the cultivation of the human realm. Su Yu has always had his heart set on the human race. Otherwise, he wouldn't have spread the cultivation methods one by one. Without waiting for the others to reply, Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "Since we've already said this much, let's not be overbearing. It's meaningless. You from the Great Shang Manor, don't get involved. What kind of rhythm is this? Last time, I killed one of your pavilion elders. There's no need to play tricks on me now." Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "The Great Shang King is also a top-notch expert and has a good relationship with my father. There's no need to make things too tense. That's not appropriate. Also, cultivation techniques are all private. A group of sun and moon trying to force a young man. If word gets out, it won't sound good. The people of the Great Ming Manor are watching." On the other side, Chief Hu sighed in his heart and said, "Manor head Zhu is right. Everyone needs to save face. Manor head Zhu, this matter is of Su Yu's own free will. What a pity. If Su Yu was in the Great Xia Manor, then the Great Xia Manor wouldn't budge an inch either. The Zhou Tian acupoint. What a pity. What a pity." Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "Then that's it. In addition, to prevent misunderstandings, do not enter the city within an hour. Enter the city, and be dealt with by the enemy. After an hour, I will naturally receive everyone." Everyone was puzzled. At this time, what other things did you have to deal with? Escort Su Yu back to the academy? Was there a need to be so exaggerated? Zhu Tiandao took a deep breath and said again, "Everyone, since I've said so much, I still hope that everyone can give me some face, otherwise, my temper is good, and my father's temper is bad." Outside, some people had strange expressions on their faces. What did he mean? And in the city, the hidden experts felt their hearts palpitate. What did he mean? Did Zhu Tiandao not receive these sun and moon realm experts? They were all important figures. Zhu Tiandao ignored him and continued to send voice transmissions to the sun and moon realm experts. At this moment, there were a total of 5 sun and moon realm experts from Daming Manor. And the sun and moon realm experts that had sneaked in, were also 5. There were even more Shanghai realm experts, a total of 15. Most of the experts from the various religions had come, and most of the experts from the other 3 or 4 manors had arrived. They had caught a big fish. The only thing they were afraid of was that if the leader of the original God religion or the Blue Sky religion also came, they would be in big trouble. Zhu Tiandao no longer cared about the people outside. He looked at the people and smiled, "I've watched the show and the cultivation technique will be spread. Everyone is in a good mood today, right? Not bad. Manor head, is there anything else?" "No." Zhu Tiandao said with a smile, "My Zhu family has been in charge of the Great Ming Manor for hundreds of years. I, as a person, have not asked anyone to do anything in the Great Ming Manor for so many years, right?" The citizens were puzzled. Someone laughed and said, "Manor head, then what are you asking us to do today?" Zhu Tiandao said with a smile, "It's not a big deal. I've taken over the position of manor head for 77 years. In these 77 years, I've rarely put on an act in front of everyone. However, there's still a saying that makes sense. Etiquette must not be abandoned." At this point, Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "Today, I want to enjoy the treatment of a manor head. Fellow citizens of the Great Ming Mansion, today. I, Zhu Tiandao, don't have many requests. Great Ming Mansion's etiquette, is there anything else?" The citizens were stunned for a moment. In the crowd, some of the elders seemed to have remembered something. In the next moment, some of them couldn't help but laugh. However, they didn't say much and suddenly knelt down on one knee. In the next moment, thousands of people knelt down on one knee in unison. Some of the young people next to them were stunned for a moment. Very quickly, they all knelt down on one knee. It had been 77 years. In the past 77 years, there hadn't been many rules in Daming Manor. However, the elders had taught that when the manor head went out, according to etiquette, he should kneel down on one knee to show his loyalty to Daming Manor. Fight for Daming Manor. Fight for the Zhu family. There was no other reason. 300 years ago, when the Daming King opened his manor to protect billions of humans, the Zhu family took charge of Daming Manor. It was to repay Daming Manor for saving their lives back then. At this moment, some people hesitated. Some knelt down, some didn't. After 77 years, some people still remembered. Many people remembered that the Great Ming Mansion was peaceful because of the protection of the Zhu family. However, some people might not remember. Zhu Tiandao didn't care about these people. At this moment, he suddenly laughed. In the next moment, he shouted, "Everyone, please don't be polite." After 3 kowtows, he stood up. Just as most of them were about to kowtow, an extremely powerful willpower swept over from afar. At the same time, Zhu Tiandao and the others attacked. Zhu Tiandao's hand covered the sky as he charged towards an expert who was about to kneel down. It was too late. The expression of the Sun-Moon Realm expert changed drastically. He had felt that something wasn't right just now. But he didn't expect Zhu Tiandao to make a move just like that. At this moment, a tower had already covered the sky and earth from afar as it charged over. It was mixed with an incomparably powerful willpower fluctuation. The surrounding people were kneeling on the ground, but he was the only one who hadn't had the time to kneel down. It was somewhat eye-catching. Those who weren't from the Great Ming Mansion wouldn't know this. Even if they knew, they had been important figures for a long time, so how could they easily kneel down? And right at this moment, Zhu Tiandao made his move. A palm struck down. Rumble. A heaven-shaking loud sound rang out, and the kneeling people in the surroundings were sent flying backwards. Zhu Tiandao couldn't care less about this. In the next moment, a pagoda, the heaven-rank pinnacle 100 Dao Pavilion of Literature and Soldiers, attacked. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1256. 1256 Chapter 296. One net isn't enough, 10,000 more monthly votes, 3. Pucci. A layer of defense was instantly shattered, and the next moment, the void exploded as if something had exploded, but no one saw anything explode. Only those experts could see that the tower had instantly pierced through the Sun-Moon Realm Sea of Will. The Sea of Will had collapsed. In an instant, the Sea of Will of a Sun and Moon Realm expert had been shattered. At the same time, on the other side, a lurking Sun and Moon Realm expert had been wrapped up by a bubble. The bubble floated up into the sky, and in the next moment, the 3 suns and moons joined forces to strike out, causing a loud explosion. The sun and moon within the bubble had been shattered alive by the 3 suns and moons. In less than a second, 2 suns and moons had fallen. In the sky, the phenomenon of the sun and moon falling instantly appeared. 2 half-moons fell from the sky. The sun and moon fell. Buzz. At this moment, the 2 lurking suns and moons broke through the sky and fled. They did not have any intention of fighting. Damn it! They were actually exposed. 2 sun and moon realm cultivators were killed instantly. One of them had just escaped into the sky, but at this moment, Zhu Tiandao had already killed that person and instantly charged toward the person in the sky. At the same time, the 100 Dao Pavilion charged towards the other Sun and Moon Realm cultivator who had escaped through the air. 5 Sun and Moon Realm cultivators. There was still one person who was hiding, not moving and kneeling on the ground, but his heart was greatly shocked. Exposed? Why? What about me? Have I been exposed? Those 4 people didn't kneel down. He knelt down, and the first thing he did was kneel down. When Zhu Tiandao spoke, the old man beside him was chatting. He heard it and knew that he had to kneel, so he didn't hesitate too much. He was afraid that it would be too conspicuous, so he knelt down. Have I been exposed? All of this happened too quickly. Zhu Tiandao killed them as soon as he said he would. He was completely unprepared. Moreover, he struck accurately. In an instant, he teamed up with Niu Baidao and the others to kill the 2 Sun Moon tier warriors who were caught off guard. At this moment, no one reacted. Including Su Yu. He only saw a blur before his eyes. 2 half-moons had crashed. In the next moment, a huge battle broke out in the sky. Zhu Tiandao, Niu Bendao, these 5 Sun Moons and the 100 Dao Pavilion were surrounding and killing the 2 Sun Moons. It was too fast. At this moment, the last Sun Moon hiding in the crowd was shocked. This couldn't do. If this continued, he might be exposed and he would die. Zhu Tiandao might have deliberately ignored him. Capture Su Yu and threaten them. Otherwise, they will die. This was his voice transmission. At this moment, more than 10 figures suddenly appeared in the crowd and charged toward Su Yu. It was those mountain and sea realm experts. They were also stunned. However, at this moment, as mountain and sea realm experts, they still reacted and saved themselves. At this moment, even capturing Zhu Hongliang might not be able to save themselves. Only by capturing Su Yu would they be able to save themselves. There was no sun and moon around Su Yu. Of course, there were many mountains and seas. The commander of the Heavenly Dao army roared, "Kill!" Dozens of Heavenly Dao army powerhouses broke through the air and charged towards those people. Battles were happening in all directions. As for Su Yu, he was still standing at his original spot. No one could get close to him. At the same time, the last sun and moon that was hiding ended their voice transmission. They did not break through the air and escape. Instead, they quickly dove underground and escaped at an extremely fast speed. As for capturing Su Yu, capture my ass. At this point it was most important that they did not take advantage of the chaos to escape. At the same time, the sun and moon outside the city finally reacted. They exploded and fell. Everything happened too quickly. It was unbelievably fast. Just as someone was about to move, Zhu Tiandao's cold voice sounded, "You are not allowed to enter the city." At this moment, everyone understood what he meant earlier. They were not allowed to enter the city. They could only enter after an hour. If they entered the city, they would be enemies. Manor Head Zhu, we can help. You are not allowed to enter the city. Zhu Tiandao's voice became even colder. He joined hands with the 100 Dao Pavilion and killed the sun and moon in the blink of an eye. Niu Bendao and the other 3 sun and moon surrounded and killed a sun and moon. At this moment, they did not have the time to care about the last sun and moon that had escaped. The escaping sun and moon realm expert was overjoyed. No one cared. On the other side, Chief Hu shouted, "Everyone, there's another guy over there. Go to the outskirts of the city and kill him." The escaping sun and moon realm expert could no longer hide his aura. Chief Hu shouted and was just about to move when, at this moment, a door appeared in front of the escaping person. It was an old man with white hair. He gritted his teeth and cursed, "My technique isn't perfect. F***ck, why am I here?" Bang! The sun and moon crashed into the door. At this moment, the sun and moon disappeared, but the space shook violently. Hu Xiansheng was bleeding profusely. He suppressed the door and shouted, "Someone, quick, F***ck, the third layer of the sun and moon can't hold it down. It's going to explode. The portal." Someone cried out in alarm. In the next moment, it turned into a toothache. A one-way portal, no, a portal with no way out. The other party was trapped in the space behind the door. Just as Hu Xianqing was about to lose control, two old men, a man and a woman, old men from the academy appeared. At this moment, their faces were filled with joy. In the next moment, the old man set up a large array to surround the door. The old woman was the old woman surnamed Hu. She was the expert in charge of the supersensory jade. Her teeth were missing. At this moment, the old woman did not stand on ceremony. She quickly said, "Blow up this door, blow him up." "How dare you?" Hu Xianqing cursed, "Blow it up too. 1,000,000 merit points. My life's savings. I built this door." And at this moment, someone suddenly said, "I'll give it to you." Hu Xianqing was shocked. The next moment, he roared, "Blow it up. The local moneybags sue you." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1257. 1257 Chapter 296. One net is not enough, 10,000 more monthly votes, for. He spoke. A loud boom. The door exploded and space was torn apart. A broken figure fell out of space and wanted to escape, but was stopped by a large array. At this moment, a furnace appeared and covered the array. Literary weapon. The old woman's literary weapon. In the next moment, flames rose from within the furnace. The old woman let out a low cry as divine runes were ignited one after another. The divine runes were fire, forging literary weapons. At this moment, the sun and moon were burning. Ah! Hu Qi, you're not dead yet. You're going to die a horrible death. Within the furnace, the sun and moon that had been set ablaze roared mournfully. You're not dead yet. Hu Qi, you're so ruthless. The old woman panted as she smiled and said, "I won't die. Today, I'll refine a sun and moon flesh and blood literary soldier, and you'll be my seal on the mountain." Mouthfuls of fresh blood spurted out as the old woman ignited the divine fire and burned it rapidly. Rumble. The furnace rumbled as the sun and moon tier struggled intensely. The furnace was constantly being struck until it protruded out, but it was unable to break through for a long time. The old woman let out a clear cry in a low voice as mouthfuls of blood essence spurted out. The old man also continuously shrank the formation. The two of them worked together and their speed was also extremely fast. On this side, Zhu Tiandao had yet to finish off the sun-moon. On the old woman's side, a rumbling sound was heard as a half-moon fell. Dead. The three suns and moons fell in an instant. Manager who was also extremely surprised at this moment. He had just left when he looked at the old woman and muttered, "And Hu Qi." The old woman glanced at him and ignored him. "Ant." General manager who wanted to say more, but the old woman controlled the furnace and instantly left. The old man quickly rushed toward Su Yu and the others. As for Hu Xianqing, he was also extremely pained at this moment. He chased toward Su Yu and shouted, "Brat, did you mean what you said just now? Blow up my teleportation door. Otherwise, the old woman wouldn't have been able to kill a sun and moon so easily." "Yes." Su Yu nodded, looked around, and smiled. Daming manner, interesting. 12 out of 15 mountains and seas came, but they didn't break through the defense line. They fought fiercely at the periphery. No matter if it was the sun and moon or the mountains and seas, none of them could get close. Zhu Tiandao said that he would protect him, he wasn't lying to him. "Run!" A mountain and sea realm expert roared. "Run!" The sun and moon had arrived. The two suns and moons in the sky couldn't hold on any longer. Everything had happened too quickly. Too fast. 3 sun and moon realm experts had died in an instant. In the sky, Zhu Tiandao laughed. Complete victory. The sun and moon in front of him was dead for sure. He couldn't escape. Just as he was about to kill the sun and moon, Zhu Tiandao's expression changed drastically. At the same time, all the sun and moon realm cultivators in all directions cried out in alarm. At this moment, the void shattered. A large hand pierced through the void, and the 3 divine runes were thrown down. In the blink of an eye, they turned into 3 faceless people. They didn't look for trouble with Zhu Tiandao, but instantly charged towards Su Yu. 3 sun and moon realm cultivators. No, the 3 divine runes were all at the sun and moon realm. Bastard! Zhu Tiandao was furious. At this moment, he couldn't be bothered anymore. In his sea of will, a sovereign divine symbol was about to be activated. He was truly furious. What audacity! The great Xia Manor had warned him, but he felt that the other party might not be so bold as to dare to make a move in the great Ming Manor. The facts proved that he was wrong. The other party really had such audacity. Damn it! Damn it! At this moment, his main divine text flickered with light, and he was about to make a move to kill those 3 divine cultural avatars. And at this moment, the void shattered. A person walked out with a saber. Expressionless, he said indifferently, "I've been waiting for you for a long time." Whine. The saber slashed down. The 3 divine cultural avatars had just appeared in front of Su Yuan. With a bang, the 3 divine texts directly exploded. In the next moment, the person glanced at Su Yu and laughed lightly. With a slash of his saber, he shattered the void and stepped into the void. His voice rang out, "The primordial spirit enlightenment technique has been transmitted to the great Xia Manor. The 3 great academies can do as they please." After saying this, the person had already disappeared. In the distance, the void exploded one after another. Saber light swept across the world. Humph. Soon, a muffled groan sounded out. 100 li away, Xia Longwu appeared, still holding his saber. On the saber hung a human figure, and it was already beginning to shatter. 7 divine runes shattered. Xia Longwu said indifferently, "Interesting. Last time and this time, you shattered 7 sun and moon divine runes. You're very strong. But, how many divine runes do you have left? Next time, I'll chop off your dog head." With a bang, without giving the figure a chance to speak, the saber chi exploded, and the divine runes exploded. Xia Longwu turned his head to look at the capital city. On the other side, Zhu Tiandao had a cold expression on his face as he slapped the sun and moon to death. He also looked from afar as the sun and moon rotated. Xia Longwu laughed scornfully. "Zhu Tiandao, be a pig and be a good one. You can't kill people." With these words, he tore through the air and flew away. In the sky above the sky capital residence, Zhu Tiandao had a cold expression on his face as he reached out with his hand. The fleeing mountains and seas were instantly crushed by him. He turned his head to look at Su Yu and sent a voice transmission. "Without him, you'll be fine. Don't mind his fake favor." "Humph. What's so great about it? As if I can't handle it without you. Damn it. Still pretending to be cool. I've established my authority and killed a few suns and moons. Why are you here to meddle? You killed 3 suns and moons with 1 slash. Although they are divine cultural avatars, they are still suns and moons. In comparison, he, Zhu Tiandao, took a long time to kill 1 sun and moon. It was nothing. He was losing face. Embarrassing. Infuriating. It's your turn, Xia Longwu, to get involved. Without you, I can't kill anyone. Without you, I can still kill these 3 sun and moon avatars. No, he killed 4 of them. When he finally left, he forcefully broke through space and chased to the source, killing the last sun and moon avatar. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1258. 1258 Chapter 296. One net is not enough, 10,000 more monthly votes, 5. F***CK, which invincible person is this? He must be crazy. 4 sun and moon incarnations came at once. He almost lost his boat in the gutter. Also, I have no idea when that bastard Xiaolongwu sneaked in. I didn't even sense it with the super-sensing jade. Does he already have invincible combat strength? So he can't detect it. With countless thoughts in his mind, he kept transmitting his voice to Suyu. It's true. That guy is just showing off. His strength is just so. No need to admire him, no need to thank him. I can still kill him without him. You're absolutely fine. Damn it, trying to buy people's hearts. Shameless. He ran away from your house, and you're still trying to buy people's hearts. Are you even human? The half-moon fell one after another, and the last sun and moon was now being surrounded and killed by Niu Bendao. Seeing that he could not take it anymore, he roared angrily, "Don't kill me, I know which invincible betrayed you." Pucci. Niu Bendao smashed his head and said indifferently, "Shut up." Below, Suyu did not speak. He deserved to be killed. Regardless of whether what this person said was true or not, it was not appropriate to make it public at this moment. It would create chaos, and it was easy for big trouble to appear. Once it was slander, it would also be trouble. It was better to kill him. The invincible person from before had 4 sun and moon divine runes broken. Last time, 3 of them had been broken, and he had lost a total of 7 sun and moon divine runes. Who was this person? This matter would definitely be investigated by someone after this. Whether it could be investigated or not was uncertain. However, 7 sun and moon divine runes had been broken consecutively. The next time he attacked, it would definitely be the real person. Suyu did not say anything. He quietly absorbed the remnants of the broken divine runes. He smiled and said, "Civilized masters do not fight. You can cultivate on the spot. With so many sun and moon dead, this is everyone's chance. Those who can open their divine apertures, quickly open your divine apertures. Warriors can also cultivate. Opening the first aperture of the primordial spirit awakening secret is not bad either." He was very calm. 5 sun and moon realm warriors had been killed. Those mountain and sea realm warriors were almost all killed. What was there to worry about? Everything had happened too quickly. Less than a minute had passed since the start of the battle. 5 sun and moon realm experts had fallen. The strength of the Daming Manor had also exceeded everyone's expectations. This time, 7 sun and moon realm experts had appeared. Hu Xianqing's teleportation portal was also shocking. The key was, how did he discover them? He had directly locked onto 5 sun and moon realm experts. Without any confidence, who would dare to sneak in? Not only that, Zhu Tiandao was killing people in the air. Bang! Bang! The unexposed mountains and seas were all killed by him. Of course, not all of them. He had left behind some fish that might be useful, but the main thing was to kill them. These people were all locked onto, and none of them could escape. Zhu Tiandao smiled faintly and said, "Regardless of whether they are from the Wan clan sect or other places, sneaking into the Daming prefecture is an act of evil. These people, just kill them." After saying that, he sighed and said, "It's a pity that we, the citizens of Daming, have been implicated. 9 people have died. These 9 people should be placed in the Daming Ancestral Hall and receive 1,000 merit points as compensation. The Daming War Institution and Civilization Institution will exempt 1 person from the test for 3 generations." As for Su Yu, after he finished speaking, he said regretfully, "The few of you have died because of me. Su Yu is ashamed. The 9 heroes directly cultivate all the cultivation techniques of the Primordial Spirit Research Institute. All of them are free and their inheritances are indestructible. This has been the case for generations. After they finished speaking, only then did someone react. Suddenly, someone sighed and said, "I might as well die." F***ck. An old man was currently hanging his arm. His arm was broken, but he had a dejected look on his face. I might as well be beaten to death. 1,000 merit points was not a small amount. This was not the key point. For the Daming civilization in Zhanjiang College, each generation would exempt one person from the test. Could there be 2 people from each generation who could enter the 2 great colleges without the test? 3 generations, that would be 6 people. All the cultivation techniques in the Primordial Spirit Research Institute could be obtained for free. There was no need to accumulate merit points or spend additional merit points. It was all direct descendants, not just 1 or 2. F***ck. After calculating, this daddy might as well die. Not only this one, but the other injured people were also extremely depressed. Why didn't we die? What a pity. They were already so old, so it was fine if we died. We had enough to eat, drink, and have fun. Even if we died, we could still enter the Daming Shrine and protect our descendants. It was so F***king worth it. Some of the injured people were coughing up blood at this moment, and at the same time, they were secretly plotting against themselves. Very quickly, someone from the Heavenly Tao army had a cold expression on his face as he dragged the injured fellow out. The old fellow was even thinking of committing suicide to cheat for compensation. Why did the Daming Mansion send out such a person? He was angry, amused, and helpless. The other people who wanted to harm him could only give up when they saw the situation. The person who was caught said helplessly, "Aren't you going to die? Manor head, at least give some comfort to those who are injured." Zhu Tiandao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Daming Manor, was it time to clean up? He couldn't care about these people anymore. It was only now that he had the time to care about the people outside. He looked at the sun and moon one by one, his eyes filled with incomparable shock. Zhu Tiandao smiled. "Everyone, we were too slow earlier. The Daming Manor is so friendly, and someone actually tried to kill us. They almost destroyed our Tiandu Manor." Everyone was speechless. "Are you sure? Are you sure that 9 people died, 5 suns and moons were killed, and more than 10 mountains and seas were killed? Is it your Tiandu Manor that was almost destroyed?" Zhu Tiandao ignored them and rose into the air. He smiled and said, "Since everyone is here, it's good that everyone saw everything. Everyone, bear witness. I won't say anything. Everyone, please accompany me. Today, I will go to the 2 great holy lands and ask for an answer. I want justice. In this world, is the human realm controlled by the human race, or is it controlled by the religion of the 10,000 races?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1259. 1259 Chapter 296. 1 net is not enough, 10,000 more requests a monthly 6. At this moment, Zhu Tiandao was very overbearing. He walked in the air and said calmly, "Everyone, accompany me. Don't say that you don't have time. Aren't you ashamed to watch this scene happen?" His voice was very loud. "Whose human realm is this? If it's from the 10,000 tribes, then just give it up." Then, he shouted, "Where are the Iron Cavalry Guards? Follow me into the Dual Saint Mansions and seek justice." In the next moment, more than 1,000 people rose into the air. They were seated on their mounts and their flags were unfurled. They shouted in unison, "Mansion Master of the Great Ming Mansion, enter the Dual Saint Mansions. Zhu Xie, retreat. Open a path for the manors." Zhu Tiandao laughed. At the same time, a golden dragon rose into the air and pulled a carriage. Zhu Tiandao stepped into the carriage and laughed, "Rise, everyone. If you come to the Dual Saint Mansions and don't leave. Do you sympathize with the Myriad Clan sect? Ha ha ha." With a loud laugh, over 1,000 guards opened the way. The golden dragon pulled the carriage and quickly flew through the air. At this moment, there were 6 Sun-Moon realm experts at the periphery. At this moment, some people had complicated expressions on their faces. They wanted to leave, but they couldn't. Troublesome. Up ahead, Zhu Tiandao's speed was extremely fast. The group of people directly stepped through the air, and the Great Ming Mansion's banner fluttered in the wind. Zhu Tiandao said indifferently, "Aren't you leaving yet? Everyone, let's go and have a drink together. We'll arrive at the Dual Saint Manors tomorrow. If you don't give me an explanation this time, the Great Ming Mansion will withdraw from the Human Realm Alliance." Of the 38 manors in the human realm, 36 manors had been opened by Invincible. The Dual Saint Manors and the Heavenly Manors were later divided. Although the 38 manors were not unified, they had an alliance agreement. Among them, the Dual Saint Manors were the leaders of this alliance agreement. Although those suns and moons were helpless, at this point, Zhu Tiandao had already made up his mind to complain. If he didn't go, he wouldn't be able to. They were also witnesses. 5 suns and moons had infiltrated the Great Ming Mansion. It had to be said that the Myriad Clan sect had gone crazy. The crucial point was that Zhu Tiandao was too ruthless. This time, it was all for the sake of fishing for suns and moons. Now, these people had also come to their senses. How ruthless. As expected, a biting dog wouldn't bark, but the few of them were also shocked. Who was that Invincible? For Divine One avatars had come to attack. If it wasn't for Xiaolongwu, something big might have happened in the Celestial Capital Prefecture. They also wanted to go to the Dual Saint Prefecture to take a look and ask what the situation was like. An invincible deity, was this a human or a myriad of races? An invincible deity of myriad races could bring a divine symbol clone to the human realm? What nonsense! If it was a human realm clone, then who was it? They had lost so many divine symbols this time, was it really impossible to find out? On the stage, Suyu watched them leave with a smile on his face. After fishing, not only did he not retract the hook, he even wanted to continue to interrogate them. What courage and great means! This time, it was likely that both the Seeker stage and the War God Hall would bleed. Not only would they bleed, they might even have to make some noise. Otherwise, they would not be able to explain themselves. Is this how you use great power to suppress the enemy? At this moment, Suyu seemed to have learned something. In his mind, that little furball had secretly absorbed a large amount of divine text's lingering charm. Suyu could not be bothered to care about it anymore. Looking at the corpses on the ground, some of them were already in tatters. Suyu smiled brightly. Sure enough, the fishing this time was easy. 5 suns and moons. Would the Myriad Clan sect dare to do it again next time? No, how many suns and moons were there? At this moment, not far away, Niu Baidao said in surprise, this guy, could he be the new sect master of the Blood Fire sect? He has the symbol of the Blood Fire sect on him. He looked at the suns and moons corpse that Zhu Tiandao had killed at the first moment and was a little surprised. There was a token in the other party's storage ring, and it was a new one. Blood Fire sect. Su Yu's lips twitched. The experts around him fell silent. Blood Fire sect. It was better to disband. It was fine to close down. 3 sect masters had died, and it had been half a year. 3 sect masters had died in half a year, so why didn't they disband? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1260. 1260 Chapter 297 The rising dragon drum sounded 4 times, asking for a monthly one. Zhu Tiandao went to complain. The others began to collect the corpses and clean up the battlefield. Besides Su Yu, there was the sun and moon protecting him at all times, preventing other enemies from ambushing Su Yu. At the side, Hu Xiansheng looked at Su Yu with eager eyes. He was more anxious about Su Yu's safety than anyone else. What about the 1 million merit points compensation that he had promised me? If anything were to happen to Su Yu, it would be the end of him. Su Yu wanted to laugh, but he did not participate in collecting the corpses. Instead, he said, "Principal, do you think that the manor head's complaint to the dual Saint Manors will yield any results?" "There will definitely be results." Hu Xiansheng suppressed the impulse to ask for the 1 million merit points back and said with a smile, "Our manor head's strength might not be the strongest among the various manor heads, but to say that he is being unreasonable, arguing with reason, he still has a few tricks up his sleeve. The 2 Saint Manors, the 2 great Saint lands, haven't done much these days. They often make mistakes, so it's fine if no one makes a fuss. Now that the manor head is making a fuss, not to mention other things, the great Han King and Silkworm Exterminating King, who are currently in charge, should show up. As for how to deal with them, we'll see how the manor head deals with them." Su Yu felt a little regretful. "I really want to go and take a look." "Don't." Hu Xiansheng smiled and said, "It's better if you don't go. If you go, it won't be easy to handle. Someone would definitely want to say that the great Han King or the Silkworm Exterminating King had come out. If he asked you, would you say it? If he didn't say it, Invincible might not care, but it was more or less like slapping someone in the face. If he said it, you wouldn't be happy. That's what the manor head meant. If he didn't bring you along, would the 2 invincible kings still come to the Great Ming Manor to ask you?" Hu Xianqing chuckled and said, "The manor head naturally has his own reasons for doing things. If you weren't there, then everything would be much easier." Su Yu nodded. That was true. This was especially true for the Silkworm King. He had even inherited his time battle technique. If he were to ask about his heavenly cycle aperture, would he tell him? It wouldn't be good if he didn't. Even if he did, he wouldn't be happy. Anyway, he wasn't prepared to tell him in the short term. 360 heavenly cycle aperture wasn't something that could be popularized. This thing required a monstrous genius and a large amount of resources. There was still hope for an invincible descendant, and it was almost impossible for an ordinary family to do so. Since it couldn't be popularized, why talk so much? If he lowered his advantage, he might even create a few opponents for himself. Seeing his regret, Hu Xiansheng looked left and right and transmitted his voice, "Kid, do you still have money? If you have money, I'll find a few old friends to help you set up an intermanor transmission image. As long as you pay, there are very few things that the Daming Manor can't do." Su Yu was speechless. How did the Daming Manor become like the Great Xia Manor again? They were so desperate for money. This principal of his is now targeting me. He had earned quite a lot of money, but he did not spend it on anything else. He spent it all on Hu Xiansheng. Of course, it was an equivalent exchange. Su Yu was actually very interested in his teleportation portal. He was not in a hurry to say anything else. Instead, he smiled and said, "Headmaster, your teleportation portal cost 1 million merit points." Ahem. Hu Xiansheng coughed dryly and said, "That's not it. But the difference is not big. Moreover, it has the crystallization of my hundreds of years of wisdom. I'm not exaggerating when I say 1 million. As you can see, I've trapped a 3rd-level Sun-Moon cultivator and seriously injured him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have died so easily." Su Yu nodded slightly. "That's true, Dean. When the portal exploded, there was still a small half left. Since I've spent the money, the remaining half is mine. Please give it to me later." Hu Xiansheng looked at him faintly. You saw it? Alright, you saw it. You still want to take away my portal? I'm only left with a little bit of residue. Su Yu did not look at him. He was indeed very interested. Really, it was a great weapon. If that thing accidentally barged in, it would definitely die. A third-level Sun-Moon cultivator was actually trapped by a portal. Speaking of which, the gate of the Research Institute had the same effect. However, the gate of the Research Institute was built on the foundation of the entire Research Institute, and it even had something to do with the space cutting room. It was impossible to bring it out. Hu Xiansheng could actually bring it out and carry it around with him. This was very impressive. Hu Xiansheng said faintly, "You don't have the Space Divine Pros, so you can't control it. It's too much of a waste." Su Yu smiled and said, "Principal, I don't mind." I'm asking if you don't mind." Hu Xiansheng had a helpless look on his face. After a long while, he said, "That. I can still barely use it when I repair it. How about I get someone to set up a long-distance transmission video camera for you for free? What do you think?" His heart was filled with resentment. He would have to pay for it. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have brought this up. Now, he would have to work for money. Su Yu laughed. "That's fine too. I'll have to trouble Principal." Hu Xiansheng sighed helplessly. "There's no rush. Manor Head and the others will arrive at least at night. It's still early." The Dual Saint Manor was quite far from Daming Manor. However, a group of experts were traveling at a fast speed. The Iron Cavalry Guards were also riding on demonic beasts, so their speed was not slow. The Iron Cavalry Guards were equipped with single-horned golden bulls. They charged into the battle, and their speed was first class. Su Yu was not curious about this, but he was even more curious about the Golden Dragon. He could not help but ask, "What's with the Golden Dragon that pulled the carriage for the Manor Lord?" "You mean that?" Hu Xiansheng smiled and said, "It was a small dragon in the past, but it was tamed by the Manor Lord and brought back from the heavenly battlefield. Its strength is not bad, but it hasn't reached the sun or moon, so it's at the peak of the mountain in Sea Realm. Usually, it doesn't have much to do, so it's in charge of pulling the carriage for the Manor Lord. It's only used once every few decades. The Manor Lord will only use the ceremonial carriage when he is patrolling the battlefield of the heavens, or when he is doing something important." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1261. 1261 Chapter 297 Rising Dragon Drum 4 Rings, Monthly 2. Su Yu nodded again. This was indeed ostentatious and much better than the Swan Ni. The Swan Ni was also nearby at this moment. It had sent Su Yu here. At this moment, it seemed to have heard his words. It turned its head and glanced at Su Yu. It probably guessed that Su Yu was looking down on it. It was depressed in its heart. What was so great about the Golden Dragon? It was just the dragon race. It wasn't much stronger than him. The Swan Ni clan wasn't weak either. Who was he looking down on? Su Yu didn't pay attention to it either. While chatting with Hu Xiansheng, he absorbed some of the remnants of the divine text to strengthen his own divine text. At this moment, the surrounding crowd also dispersed one after another. A moment later, the battlefield was almost cleaned up. Niu Baidao walked over. He said with a smile, "This time, we've done a big job." The high-ranking members of the Divine Dragon Sect, the Demonic Scorpion Sect, the Blood Fire Sect, the Heavenly Eye Sect, the Flying Tiger Sect, and the other sects that are active in our area have all been wiped out in one go. Almost all the experts of the sects in the 3 or 4 big manors nearby have been killed this time. Su Yu said in a deep voice, "Mansion Master, did the Six Wings Divine Sect send anyone?" "No." Niu Bendao knew what he was thinking. He comforted him, "It's good that they didn't come. That means that their side is lacking in strength and they can't send anyone else. If they really have enough strength, who wouldn't want to come and take a look and get a share of the spoils? But in the end, they didn't come. That means that they don't have the strength to send any experts over now. With that said, Niu Bendao said telepathically, let's not talk about this. Do you still have Heaven Yuan Qi over there? Lend me a batch and we'll speed up the imitation of the phenomenon. If this matter of yours spreads, it'll be a little troublesome. Although it might not be able to hide it from others, it's better to keep it a secret and let everyone suspect it. Suyu said telepathically, Mannerhead wants to imitate the phenomenon. Yes. Niu Bidao said telepathically, it's too late now. Otherwise, we should have imitated it on the spot and let the sun and moon see it. It's not too late now. Lend me some Heaven Yuan Qi first. I'll speed up the imitation and see if I can send it to Mannerhead. It's best to show it on the Double Saint Mansions. After all, those people from the Double Saint Mansions did not see it with their own eyes. These people also think highly of themselves. They might not really think that you can draw out the ancient human emperor's rules, make a fake one and fool them. Su Yu's eyes flickered. This was a good idea. They might not take it seriously if they did not see it with their own eyes. Previously, he had about 150 portions of Heaven Yuan Qi from the Heaven Yuan fruits, and he had consumed about 30 portions. However, he had wasted about 10 portions during the first anomaly. After counting, he still had about 110 portions left. The Heaven and Earth anomaly actually did not have much Heaven Yuan Qi. It just looked spectacular. It was only about 20 portions. The ancient human emperor seemed to be a stingy person. Of course, it was probably because he had been around for too long that he had consumed a lot. After all, time had passed, and he did not know where the rewards of these rules were stored. It was likely that he had consumed some of them. About 20 portions was not considered a lot. Su Yu did not say much. Soon, he took out a small ball that looked like it had about 30 portions. He handed it to Niu Bidao. Niu Bidao didn't say much. He quickly handed it to an elder of the Sun and Moon realm. The elder took the items and left quickly. It seemed like he was going to make more copies. Suyu followed Niu Bidao and continued to send telepathic messages. Mannerhead, is there anyone left? There are still some left. The mountains and seas have all been cleared. There are still some Ling Yun and those who haven't been cleared. I'm not sure if they are spies from the various manors or the Myriad Clan sect. Including the 15 mountains and seas that were killed, not all of them are from the Myriad Clan sect. Of course, if we kill them now, then so be it. Even if someone from the various manors were killed by mistake, they wouldn't say anything at this time. There were 5 Sun-Moon realm cultivators in the Myriad Clan sect, and your people were also in hiding. What were you planning to do? Even if there were mountains and seas that were accidentally killed, the various manors wouldn't make a sound at this time. Then, if you want to catch them later, leave a few for me. Sure. Niu Bidao didn't really care about this. He smiled and said, you really want to sneak in? Not necessarily. Leave a few Lingyun for me to broaden my horizons. Suyu smiled and said, I'm still lacking in actual combat experience. Mansion Master, don't kill all of them later. If I have time, I'll go practice and see Ling Yun's strength. It didn't matter if he didn't have enough actual combat experience. Killing a few people was enough. After entering the soaring stage, Suyu also wanted to try out his current strength. At this point, he asked, Mansion Master, Sun and Moon, are there any divine runes left behind? This time, it was actually quite a loss. The loss wasn't due to anything else, but the 1 million merit points. Back then, if he hadn't said anything, Hu Xiansheng would have probably exploded as well. However, money, possessions, and external things, making Hu Xiansheng willingly explode was also a good thing. This time, the encirclement of sun and moon was actually for Su Yu. Making people suffer heavy losses, that wasn't Su Yu's style. Out of the merit points that Lord Xiaoho had given him previously, Su Yu only had 1,060,000 merit points left. Even if he gave some to Hu Xiansheng, Su Yu would still have 60,000 merit points. It was enough. Moreover, if he really had to spend money, he still had a lot of money to confiscate. The advanced version of the convergence technique, Primordial Spirit Scripture, and the following, Primordial Spirit Awakening Technique, were all golden eggs. As long as Su Yu did not burn money crazily, he would not be short of money. Yes, but I can't strip it now. Let's wait for the manor head to return. Niu Baidao smiled and said, of the 5 sun moons, the first to be killed, the new sect master of the blood fire sect, and the fellow that old friend who Qi refined are all civilized masters. The remaining 3 are fighters. These 2 should have some divine runes left behind. The sun-moon divine runes could be used as mystic realms. However, these 2 might not have outlined a few divine runes. Even if they had, other than the main divine runes, the other divine runes might not have advanced to suns and moons. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1262. 1262 Chapter 297, Rising Dragon Drum 4 Strikes, Monthly 3. Su Yu didn't say much and suddenly transmitted his voice, Principal, these are all traitors of the human race. Can I extract a few drops of blood essence and examine the memory fragments to see if these people have any secrets? You can extract memories. Niu Baidao was a little surprised. This technique was really not something that anyone could master. Yes. Niu Baidao thought for a moment and nodded, sure, I'll extract it and send it to you later. But Su Yu, remember, research is fine, memory extraction is fine, but you can't use human blood essence to cultivate. You definitely can't. If you use human blood essence to cultivate, then you're a human devil. Devil. Also, this is targeted at the Myriad clan cult. No one else can do it. Otherwise, once I find out, no matter how talented you are, if you lose your humanity, the Daming Manor won't need you. Su Yu nodded. Bai Feng had told him this on his first day in the lab, and it was very serious. It won't happen. That's good. I don't want you to stand on the opposite side of the human race one day. The human race may have some vermin, but that doesn't mean they're all bad people. Whether it's the Great Qin Mansion, the Great Xia Mansion, or the Great Zhou Mansion, which you might be hostile towards, there are actually countless people fighting and contributing to the human race. Niu Baidao said telepathically, everyone may have different standpoints. Some people may be very stubborn, but they may not necessarily be bad people. You may know that there is a group of people who feel that a great war cannot break out now, which is disadvantageous to the human race. Such a peace-seeking faction and a delaying faction may not necessarily be a bad person. In fact, our Daming Mansion is also one of these people. The Mansion Master's stance toward the outside world is to stall for time first. Su Yu, do you think that the Mansion Master is a bad person? Niu Baidao sighed and said, sometimes, there are many things to consider. It's not just a moment of gratification or revenge. It's enough to fight with all the races. Even if you have to fight with your life, it's worth it. You can't overthrow everyone in one go. Su Yu nodded and said with a smile, I know what the principle means. I'm not that extreme. Many people had advised him before. Hong Tan, Wan Tianxing, Niu Baidao. Including Chen Yong, Lu Wenyan, and the others, they had all said these things. Don't overturn everyone in one go. They might not be your friends, but they might not be your enemies either. Don't turn those people into your enemies. As for why they all felt this way, it was probably because they felt that Su Yu was too young. Su Yu didn't say much. These people were actually right. Not those who opposed you, they were all your enemies. You weren't a merit point. Everyone loved you. It was very normal for people with different standpoints and different philosophies. He was not that extreme, but there were some people he had to find a way to solve. For example, the invincible who had attacked just now. As for Zhu Tiandao, it would be difficult to find him through this. If it was that simple, he would have solved it long ago. 7 divine inscriptions. Su Yu muttered in his heart. 7, that was not a small number. They were all sun and moon divine inscriptions. Even for invincible, it was not that simple to sketch out the sun and moon divine inscriptions. These 7 divine inscriptions might not have been exposed. Otherwise, there should be someone who could recognize them. Also, was it the same person from last time and this time? In the Sea of Consciousness, Su Yu was also communicating with little Hairy Ball. You ate some divine inscriptions fragments. Can you identify the other party's scent? I can, but I still have to enter the Sea of Consciousness to eat it. Su Yu's eyes moved slightly. You can identify it when you enter the other party's Sea of Consciousness? On. The little fur ball replied lazily. With such a fragrance, he should be able to tell the difference, right? Su Yu turned his head around and thought helplessly. If it was that easy to check the other party's Sea of Consciousness, there wouldn't be so much trouble. Which invincible expert would allow you to check your Sea of Consciousness? It was impossible. Putting aside invincible expert, even he wouldn't agree to it if someone wanted to check his Sea of Consciousness. Just as Su Yu and the others returned to the academy. On the road from Daming Manor to Dual Saint Manor, the Iron Cavalry Guards opened up a path. In the carriage, there were 7 suns and moons, including Zhu Tiandao. The golden dragon pulled the carriage. Passing by a manor, it would attract the attention of countless people. This was the departure of a big shot. A big shot from Daming Manor. In the carriage, Zhu Tiandao was drinking tea and leaning against the seat. There was a lot of room. He took a sip of tea and smiled. Everyone, don't look so sad. It's not like I'm asking you to die. It's just a complaint. Why do you have to look like this? Manor head Zhu. Someone said helplessly, everyone knows what's going on. I'll be frank with you. It's not the first time I've heard of such an invincible person. Everyone is pretending to be muddle-headed. The key point is that there's no evidence. If this matter blows up, no one will look good. They can say that the Myriad Clan cult is fine, but to bring up this person at this time, it's really not easy to deal with. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, that's right. No one knows who this person is. There are dozens of unrivaled humans and all of them have contributed greatly to the human race. Who wants to be investigated? It's not like they've been caught red-handed. It's not good for anyone if they make a scene. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. It was good that you understood. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, but this guy is indeed a big threat. Everyone won't deny it, right? Today, he killed Yi Badian. Tomorrow, he killed Su Yu. The day after tomorrow, it might be Huang Teng. The day after tomorrow, it might be Qin Fang. Or, it might be some geniuses who have the potential to achieve Dao. For example, Xia Longwu, Zhou Polong, and the others. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, are we just going to let this go? Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, yes. He sighed and said, no one wants the invincible of the human race to bear grudges against each other. Everyone is afraid of their own safety. If they really make a big fuss and the invincible starts to fight among themselves, who will bear the responsibility? But, it's useless to turn a blind eye. After that fellow conned and killed Yi Badian back then, if he were to behave himself, he would only do it once in his life. As time passes, everyone will forget about it. However, recently, he has made a series of moves. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1263. 1263 Chapter 297, Rising Dragon Drum 4 Strikes, Monthly 4. Zhu Tiandao said coldly, at this point, do you still want to be blind? Manager Hu sighed, the other party attacked once in the Great Xia Manor last time, less than half a year has passed. It was too frequent. This was not a good thing. The Sun and Moon of the Great Song Manor said hesitantly, the last time he attacked Lu Wenyan, and this time he attacked Suyu, was it because of the fifth generation's divine runes and the heavenly cycle acupuncture points? Or was it purely to kill the many divine runes geniuses? Previously, if the fifth generation was really framed by someone, then this person has always been targeting the many divine one faction. Zhu Tiandao said indifferently, do you think that by targeting the many divine one faction, everyone will be fine? That's not what I mean. Sun and Moon from the Song family shook his head and said, what I mean is that this person frequently attacked the many divine one faction, even at a huge price. Recently, he even seemed to be desperate and hysterical. If we really want to find the other party, perhaps we still have to look at the many divine one faction. Zhu Tiandao did not say a word. What he said was true. The others did not say anything either. It was not that simple to fish out an invincible person. Moreover, if they really managed to fish him out, who would kill him? The few of them also had a headache. This matter was not something they could participate in. Sun Yu did not have the strength, nor did he have the qualifications to participate. In the end, it still depended on the invincible one. The carriage continued forward. Soon, the Yuan Qi became much denser. It was about to enter the Dual Saint mansions. There were people in the Dual Saint manors as well, and there were quite a number of them. There were many invincible family clans here. Inside the carriage, Zhu Tiandao straightened his clothes. He thought for a moment before suddenly shattering some of his clothes. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the Sun and Moon, he painfully cut some small wounds on his body. Following that, he stained his clothes with some blood. Following that, he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Manor head Zhu. The few of them were stunned. Zhu Tiandao said calmly, 5. No, 9 suns and moons ambushed the Daming Manor, and the Daming Manor was almost destroyed. This is the truth, right? The few of you, you have to testify later. It's the 9 suns and moons, right? It's you. They stuttered, you're the manor head. The head of a manor. Strictly speaking, he was in existence on the same level as invincible. Do you not care about your face at all? Not to mention not being injured, even if you were injured, you should still pay attention to your face and identity at this moment. Zhu Tiandao couldn't be bothered. In the next moment, with a wave of his hand, foggy gray objects appeared on the golden dragon in front of him, as if it had just crawled out of the mud. A moment later, a bloody rain fell on the iron cavalry guards in front of them, dyeing their armors red. Zhu Tiandao thought for a moment and fiddled with it again. The carriage was a little broken. At this moment, the Sun and Moon could already see outside. The carriage had leaked wind. The banner of Daming Manor had been lit on fire at this moment, and half of it had been burned. What a defeated general! It was as if the defeated army had fled. The Sun and Moon gnashed their teeth. This was going to sell themselves to death. They really didn't care about their face. Mansion Master Zhu, this. Zhu Tiandao smiled faintly. You don't have to worry about it. The battle just now was intense and our great Ming mansion suffered heavy losses. As the mansion master, I don't have to care about my face anymore. If I'm embarrassed, so be it. The human realm is already in such a mess, what do I have to care about? He looked at the few of them and said with a smile, you guys, what you should say and what you shouldn't say. It's useless even if you say it, right? Just speak according to the facts that you see. As he said that, Zhu Tiandao stood up and walked out of the carriage. A moment later, a fat middle-aged man flew over from afar and said quickly, "Father." As he said that, he looked at the carriage and was a little speechless. What was father doing? Didn't he say that there was nothing going on? This made it seem like he had just been defeated in the battle of the heavens and was beaten back to the human realm. "Did you bring the rising dragon drum?" "I did." That fat man quickly took out a huge drum from his storage ring. The sun and moon were dumbfounded once again. Wasn't this thing at the entrance of the quest realm? Why did you even bring this with you? Something bad was going to happen. Just as they were thinking about this, Zhu Tiandao stretched out his hand and took the drum. At the next moment, the sound of the drum shook the dual saint mansions. Dong! One sound. Dong! Two sounds. One sound, requesting to meet an invincible expert. Two sounds, requesting to speak of grievances. Three sounds, reporting of a crisis, only invincible could deal with it. There were four sounds of danger to the great manor, and it affected hundreds of millions of people. There were five sounds of danger to the heavenly battlefield, and invincible had to go out to fight. There were six sounds of danger to the entire human realm, and they had to be on alert. There were seven sounds of invincible falling. There were 8 sounds of battle to prepare for the final battle. There were 9 sounds of human realm breaking through, escaping, struggling, saving their lives, and leaving behind the flames of inheritance. Dong! 3 sounds. At this moment, 2 great halls floating in the air appeared in the distance. 3 sounds rang out, and Invincible was coming to deal with them. They wouldn't stop. Dong! 4 sounds rang out. The great manor was in danger. In the next moment, 2 waves of invincible aura covered over. Zhu Tiandao was covered in blood. At this moment, he knocked 4 times consecutively. Countless people in the dual saint manors looked up, and their hearts trembled. 4 sounds. Which manors were in mortal danger? Someone saw the remnant army in the sky. The Daming Manors. That was the master of the Daming Manors. Zhu Tiandao's expression was calm, but his voice was extremely loud. The Daming Manors are in danger. 9 suns and moons, and 15 mountains and seas have attacked the Daming Manors. The Heaven Capital Manors are in danger, and the Daming Manors are in danger. The myriad religions have wreaked havoc, and my father has gone to the battlefield of the heavens. Unable to return, he has come to seek help. The Daming Mansion has been in existence for more than 300 years, and for more than 300 years, it has never sought help from the dual saint manors. Today, Zhu Tiandao has let down the Daming King, let down the millions and millions of citizens of the Daming Mansion, and asked the dual saint halls to stand up for the Daming Mansion. The human realm is in danger, and the myriad religions have already invaded the human realm. The world is about to descend into chaos. With the help of the rising dragon drum and the 9th layer of the sun and moon, mournful roars shook the dual saint manors and spread throughout the entire dual saint manors. Countless people were shocked. The great Ming Mansion was in danger. Mansion Master Zhu Tiandao had come to ask for help. For more than 300 years, the only Mansion Master who had come to ask for help was the former Great Qi Mansion. That was because of the fall of the Great Qi King. The Great Ming King was still alive. Although he was not in the manor, was the Great Ming Manor already in such a crisis? The 9 suns and moons were attacking. The world was shaking. In the air, Zhu Tiandao's voice was bitter, but his expression was calm. In the distance, the doors of the 2 great holy lands opened. Open the hall. A calm voice sounded out, and the 2 great halls that stood at the peak of the human realm opened at the same time. Many sun-moon realm and mountain sea realm experts walked out from their residences, seclusion grounds, and other places, rushing toward the great hall. The sacred land had opened its hall. It was discussing the matters of the human realm. At the peak of Mount War God, the Silkworm Saint King frowned and walked out of Mount War God, walking toward the Hall of War God. Deep within the Chiu Soa realm, the great Han King sighed. With his hands behind his back, he walked toward the Hall of War God. The Manor Lord asked for help. Daming Manor was in danger of being destroyed. F***CKU. Zhu Tiandao, can you stop talking nonsense? Even if 9 suns and moons were to attack your Daming Manor, it wouldn't be so easy to destroy it. How could you still have the mood to come here and ask for help? If you want to file a complaint, then file a complaint. If you want to find trouble, then find trouble. If you insist on beating the rising dragon drum 4 times, I'm afraid this matter has already quickly spread to the heavenly battlefield. Perhaps, there will soon be other invincible families returning. Out of the 36 manors, the Daming Manor, which wasn't considered to be at the bottom of the rankings, had already been destroyed. How could the front lines be at ease? The 2 unrivaled masters in charge would be humiliated. As for the unrivaled clans in charge of the world, they probably wouldn't have a good ending this time. Because, the 9 suns and moons were real. Zhu Tiandao didn't dare to lie about this. In the human realm, it was unforgivable for 9 suns and moons to attack a great manors at the same time. The 2 great holy lands would have to bear the responsibility this time. Zhu Tiandao smiled and casually threw the rising dragon drum to his son. Take it back. Don't lose it. You can't afford to lose it. His eldest son laughed foolishly as he took the drum and flew toward the Seeker realm. At this moment, at the gate of the Seeker realm, the injured mountain and sea realm cultivators felt helpless. They had gone mad. Snatching the rising dragon drum. But now, they didn't have time to investigate. Invincible had come out of seclusion, and both Invincible and Invincible had come out of seclusion to open the 2 sacred halls. Today, if things didn't go well, heads would roll. Some of the mountains and seas of the sun and moon who were rushing toward the 2 saint mansions were all worried. They were all crazy. Who the hell would go and provoke these people from the Daming Prefecture? That bastard from the Zhu family had come to the dual saint mansions to cause trouble before. P.S. In the last 2 days, I'm begging for a monthly pass. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1264. 1264 Chapter 298 Old Zhu, 1. The 2 sacred lands stood in the air. At this moment, the 2 sacred lands were open. Inside the War God Hall, Silkworm King sat on the throne and didn't say anything. He waved his hand and space flashed and fluctuated. In the blink of an eye, the War God Hall seemed to be close to Chiu Soa realm. Inside Chiu Soa Hall, the great Han King didn't say anything either. Both sides stayed on one side and didn't communicate. From the outside, the War God Hall was still on the War God Mountain while the Hall of Inquiry was still in the realm of Inquiry. This was invincibility. It involved the space-time domain. At this moment, outside the door of the realm of Inquiry, Zhu Tiandao got off the carriage and looked up. The 99 steps led straight to the sacred hall. Relief sculptures stood on both sides of the steps. A few sun and moon tier cultivators walked up the steps. The light flickered and verified their identities. Zhu Tiandao's face was calm as he walked up the steps. The other sun and moon followed. In the great hall of search, the sun and moon stood on both sides of the mountains and seas. The great Han King stood on top of it. On both sides, there were 8 shorter seats. These were the seats of the 8 great families of Search Realm. At this moment, the 8 great families' heads were all in position. Their faces were solemn. The people who came were not small figures that could be easily controlled. Instead, they were the heads of a manor. Their father was a giant figure of Search Realm. If the Zhu family was not small in number, one of the 8 great families would definitely be the Zhu family. Zhu Tiandao stepped on the stone steps, his speed neither fast nor slow. After walking for a while, the hall was in sight. Entering. Zhu Tiandao said in a clear voice, the head of Daming Manor, Zhu Tiandao, greets the great Han King. No need for formalities. The great Han King looked a little weak, and his figure was not tall. However, he looked dignified and did not dare to look directly at him. After saying no formalities, the great Han King said calmly, ring the rising dragon drum, ring 4 times in a row. Can the crisis of Daming Manor be resolved? I'm not sure. Zhu Tiandao took a step forward and said indifferently, you killed 5 suns and moons, shattered 4 invincible clones, and killed 15 people in the mountains and seas. However, I'm not sure if there are any experts lurking around, or if there are any experts who continue to covet you. Invincible clones. The great Han King was silent for a moment, then slowly said, do you have evidence? Suns and moons clones. Zhu Tiandao smiled faintly and said, 4 in a row, all from one person. If he is not invincible, then he is the reincarnation of Yi Batian. The doppelgangers possess the power of the 7th level of the sun and moon, 4 in a row. The great Han King has taught me that he is not invincible. Could it be brother Zhou Polong, Zhou Patian? The moment these words were said, an old man on the 8 great clans' thrones said faintly, Manor head Zhu, be careful with your words. Zhu Tiandao's eyes erupted with divine light as he shouted, shut up. I am the head of the great Ming Manor. It is your turn to speak when communicating with the great Han King. As he finished speaking, he shouted, men, take down his throne. How dare you sit down in front of me? Outside the door, the expressions of the guards changed. The great Han King was silent for a moment, men, give him a seat. In an instant, 2 strong men brought over a huge throne. It was only slightly lower than the great Han King, but it was half a level higher than the heads of the 8 great clans. Zhu Tiandao did not stand on ceremony and directly sat on the throne, he smiled and said, the great Han King must be embarrassed. Some people don't know how to appreciate favors and don't know the rules. The 36 manors have an alliance agreement since the beginning of the manors, and they are all in the master realm. What 8 great families and 9 great families, working and doing chores, and now they want to bully the master. Humph. With a sneer, Zhu Tiandao ignored the change in the expressions of the 8 great families' leaders and looked coldly at the person who had just spoken, Zhou Patian is in front of me, and even if I say that he's trash, he won't dare to speak nonsense. What audacity, is it your turn to make me speak cautiously? Who gave you the confidence? Zhu Tiandao's eyes shone with a dazzling light. Not convinced. If you dare say another word, I'll kill you in front of the Dark Han King today. Do you believe it or not? On the 8 thrones, no one made a sound. Even the second son of the Zhou family, the great Zhou King, did not say a word. He lowered his head and did not say a word. Zhu Tiandao laughed in disdain. The great Han King did not join in. After he was done venting his anger and finding fault, he said calmly, all right, stop arguing with others. Let's get down to business. Zhu Tiandao also laughed, the great Han King is wise. It's not that I'm arguing with them. It's just a bunch of villains who want to bully me. I couldn't help it. I've always had a good temper. I've been in charge of the Great Ming Mansion for 77 years and have never crossed the line. The Great Ming Mansion has never fought for anything, but now, I'm being bullied. Zhu Tiandao snorted coldly, the 9 suns and moons are attacking. What are they trying to do? Destroy my Great Ming Mansion while my father isn't around? Is it the myriad clan cult, or are some people who don't like me stirring up trouble in the dark? The Great Ming Mansion is under the jurisdiction of the Seeker Realm. So many suns and moons are attacking. What is the Seeker Realm doing? Every year, the major manors allocate countless funds to support the 2 holy lands. 30% of the spoils on the battlefield go to the Seeker realm and 70% to the 36 manors. Countless resources are spent. Every year, they say they want to destroy the Myriad Clan sect. What about now? Zhu Tiandao said coldly, today, 9 suns and moons attacked. Some time ago, they killed Jin Yuhui and the Blood Fire Demon. A few days ago, Xia Longwu also killed 1 suns and moons and 3 incarnations. In less than half a year, 15 sun and moon realm cultivators attacked the Great Xia and the Great Ming manors. Zhu Tiandao said coldly, 15 suns and moons. Half a year. Today, I ask one question. How many suns and moons do the Myriad Clan religion have in the human realm? I want an answer. Otherwise, the Great Ming manors will not join the human alliance anymore. 15 of them. At this moment, the expressions of some of the elders who had just come out of seclusion changed. Someone walked out of the main hall and exclaimed, "Is what Mansion Master Zhu said true?" Zhu Tiandao said indifferently, "Everyone in the world knows that only a bunch of you who don't do anything have been deceived by someone. You must be blind. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories." Chapter 1265. 1265 Chapter 298, Old Zhu, 2. The old man was not angry. He looked up at the king of Great Han, turned around, and looked at the king of Silkworm Extermination. Suddenly, he started coughing. He coughed violently. 15 suns and moons, half a year. The old man pointed at the king of Great Han, panting a little. Zhu Tiandao laughed, "Old Wang, don't die of anger. This is nothing. Right now, the suns and moons of the six-winged divine sect are chasing after Yi Beishan's grand disciple, Chen Yong. Everyone knows this, but they can't kill the six-winged divine sect. Lan Tian has been hiding in the Great Xia mansion for decades. No one knows. In the 3 great seas, several suns and moons of the 10,000 clans are active. The original cult master is still stirring up trouble everywhere. A large number of the 10,000 clans are still attacking the people. Oh, that's right. Just 10 months ago, 5 experts at the 7th or 8th level of the Sun-Moon realm killed Xia Longwu. All of them died. Zhu Tiandao said indifferently, the human realm is going to be finished. In less than a year, it's not even enough to kill 20 suns and moons of the Myriad clan. There are still a large number of suns and moons active. How many suns and moons are there in the human realm? Even if 20 suns and moons died in the 36 prefectures, it's probably going to be over soon. But, the Myriad clan still has many more. Zhu Tiandao sneered, "Elder Wang, do you think I should come and ask for help? I'm afraid. I killed 9 today, and tomorrow 90 suns and moons will come to take revenge on my Daming prefecture. Is the Daming prefecture completely finished?" Silence. In the great hall, the old man shouted, "King of the Great Han, is what Zhu Tiandao said true?" In less than a year, he had killed 20 suns and moons, and there was still a large number of suns and moons moving. It was shocking. Was he still in the human realm? He had been in closed-door cultivation for many years. Today, the rising dragon drum sounded 4 times before he came out of closed-door cultivation. He had seen that Zhu Tiandao was deliberately bluffing, but at this moment, when he heard him tell the truth, he was immediately shocked. Within the human realm, more than 10 suns and moons had died in less than a year. Could it be that the Myriad clan sect had already grown to such an extent? Also, that invincible clone made him feel even more terrified. It wasn't just him. Some of the experts who had been in seclusion for more than a year had their expressions change. Was a year very long? No, it was very short. So many major events had happened within a year. It was too terrifying. Had the human realm changed? The great Han King was silent. After a moment of silence, he said calmly, "It's true. You." The old man coughed violently. "You bastards." The old man was furious. "Why is that so? Is there no way to restrict it?" "If there is no way to restrict it, there are many people who are in closed-door cultivation. Why don't you summon us out of closed-door cultivation? How can we allow the myriad races to behave atrociously?" The old man was furious and started coughing again. He did not have much time left, but he was one of the top experts who had opened the manor together and fought against the myriad races together. Now, with the passage of time and injuries, he had been in closed-door cultivation for many years. Only now did he know that so many major events had happened in the human realm. The Darkhan King said calmly, "The situation has not deteriorated to this extent, as for the matter between the Daming Manor and the Great Xia Manor." He looked at Zhu Tiandao and asked, "Tiandao, what are your demands and thoughts?" Zhu Tiandao said calmly, "Simple. The myriad clan cult is making such a ruckus. It doesn't make sense if they don't kill 10 suns and moons. They have many suns and moons, so it doesn't hurt if they don't kill some. The Daming Prefecture can kill 9 suns and the Quest Realm can kill 10 suns and moons without difficulty. In addition, the Quest Realm scouting the world is aimed at the Myriad Clan cult. However, they are allowing the Myriad Clan cult members to kill their way into the Daming Prefecture. The 8 great clans are in charge, and this is a huge joke. If it was the 8 great clans, the 8 great clans could retreat. In addition, they would be held accountable. They would be investigated if the 8 great clans colluded with the Myriad Clan religion to intentionally weaken the strength of the Daming Prefecture or the Great Xia Prefecture. The 8 clan leaders were extremely furious. Someone said in a low voice, "Manor Head Zhu, we admit that we have done it. We have responsibilities. Colluding with the Myriad Clan religion is too much. This is slander." Zhu Tiandao said coldly, "My Great Ming Manor hasn't been destroyed, so I'm here to talk nonsense with you. I'll let your family be attacked by the 9 suns and moons. If you haven't been destroyed, you can come and blame me. I'll also say that I've done something wrong. I'm sorry, but your deaths have nothing to do with me. If I were one of the leaders of Chiu Suo realm, would you agree?" Manor Head Zhu. Someone said helplessly, "The Chiu Suo realm has never relaxed their suppression of the Myriad Clan sect. This time, it really is an accident." "Accident?" Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "All right, you said it. This is an accident. Next time, your Zhang family's ancestral land will be attacked by someone and 9 suns and moons will be lost. Don't complain. Don't say that we've fulfilled our responsibilities." The few family heads fell silent. They were helpless and had nothing to say. The more they spoke, the more troublesome it became. Zhu Tiandao continued, "Since you don't want to say it, listen to me. Other than the previous request, sending people to destroy the 6 Wings Divine sect was simply laughable. The invincible human realm and the experts of the human race were attacked by the myriad races divine sect and were unable to receive reinforcements. How laughable. The 6 Wings Divine sect must be destroyed. Otherwise, where will the dignity of the human realm remain? This is simply a joke." Zhu Tiandao snorted, "The Yuan family and the Great Xia Manor are all trash. That trash Yuan Qingdong even volunteered to go and kill someone. Where is he now? He might be a traitor. Capture him and investigate him. It's not easy to investigate him when he's invincible. It's not easy to investigate a puny first-level sun and moon." Manor Head Zhu. The head of the Yuan family frowned. "Whether my son is a traitor or not, it's not appropriate for Manor Head to say this." Zhu Tiandao said indifferently, "Then let me ask you, where is Yuan Qingdong? Did he save anyone? Did he kill the 6-winged divine sect sun and moon? If he didn't, that would be dereliction of duty. He's a good-for-nothing, what's the point of having him?" Ignoring this person, he continued, exterminating the six-winged divine sect. Does the great Han King have a different opinion on this point? The great Han King said calmly, he should be exterminated. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1266. 1266 Chapter 298 Old Zhu, 3. Zhu Tiandao smiled. Good. Also, for the extermination of the six-winged god sect, hand it over to the 8 great clans. The six-winged god sect now has 2 sun and moon members and 6 mountain and sea members. If the 8 great clans can't even deal with the six-winged god sect, does that mean that the 8 great clans no longer have the need to exist? The great Han King was silent for a moment, then said again, the 8 great clans will be responsible for exterminating the six-winged sect. Within 3 months, I want to see the heads of the six-winged sect on the mountains and seas. Zhu Tiandao smiled and continued, our great Ming mansion has suffered heavy losses this time, and we need strength to fill the gap. We need 300,000 solis in the search realm, and I want to gather 100,000 to defend the great Ming mansion. Cough cough cough. In the main hall, the sound of coughing could be heard. Damn it, you really dare to say that? There were 300,000 Soli warriors in the Seeking Realm, and they were all trained by the experts of the Seeking Realm. They were all very strong, and these 300,000 Soli warriors were also an important force for exterminating the myriad clan religion. They did not participate in the battle at the front line, and their main task was to defend the rear. This fellow, what a big tone. He wanted to mobilize 100,000 people in one go. The Great Ming Mansion's Iron Cavalry Guards were only 5,000 people. The Great Xia Mansion was considered one of the 3 strongest manors. The strongest Dragon Martial Guards were known as 10,000 people, but in reality, they did not have any. Of course, the Great Xia Mansion's Dragon Martial Guards were 10,000 stone soldiers. The Sky Guards were 10 people long, and the Dark Guards were the Sky Guards. The strong warriors of the Seeker Realm were also Sky Guards, but their strength was not as good as those elite legions. Their potential was limited, and many of them were piled up with medicine. However, the number of 300,000 was also shocking. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, Daming Manor was attacked by 9 suns and moons. Shouldn't I mobilize 100,000 people to defend Daming Manor to prevent retaliation? The Quest Realm doesn't work, and 300,000 people cost a lot of money. Are we playing with ants here? After saying this, someone said angrily, get rid of those sky-swallowing ants as soon as possible. Zhu Tiandao frowned and said, what are you talking about? Last time, the sky-swallowing ants invaded by themselves. Don't try to take advantage of me. 100,000 Hercules to defend the Daming Manor. That's a must. If it doesn't work, you can kill 9 suns and moons. I don't want them anymore. As he said this, he looked at the Great Han King, he smiled and said, Great Han King, am I asking too much? If the Dark Han Manor is attacked by the 9 suns and moons and you are not in the human realm, do you think Brother Lu is asking for tens of thousands of lux? If it's not possible, let my father come back to oversee the Daming Manor. I don't need those lux anymore. The Dark Han King glanced at him and said calmly, it's over 100,000. About 80,000. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, that's not much, right? 30,000. The Great Han King could not be bothered to bargain with him. After this, bring 30,000 strong men back and defend the Daming Manor. Feed them yourself. No problem. Zhu Tiandao smiled. Below him, a Sun and Moon Realm warrior said in a deep voice, Great Han King, this matter cannot be allowed. Today, the Daming Manor is coming to demand people. Tomorrow, the other manors will follow suit. The Great Han King said calmly, it doesn't matter. Whichever manor kills 9 suns and moons can come and take 30,000 strong men. As soon as he said this, General Manager Hu said carefully, Your Highness, previously, the Lord of Dragon Martial Manor killed 5 suns and moons. After that, he killed 4 suns and moons consecutively. Can we gather 30,000 strong warriors? Silence. The king of Great Han was also stunned. Was that so? General Manager Hu said carefully, This matter is true. Everyone should know that most of them are at the 7th and 8th levels of the sun and moon. The Great Han King was silent. On the other side, Silkworm Extermination King burst out laughing. The Great Han King suddenly said, That is the matter of the War God Hall, it has nothing to do with us. The War God Hall also has strong warriors, go to the War God Hall to recruit them. He was almost confused. Aren't you F** King from the War God Hall? Why are you looking for me? On the other side, Silkworm Extermination King was also slightly stunned. Yes, the Great Xia Mansion was under the jurisdiction of the War God Hall. Manager Hu didn't say anything either. He turned to look at the War God Hall. The Great Han King had already expressed his opinion, What about you? The Silkworm Exterminating King smiled and said casually, That's true. If your Great Xia Manor can afford it, you can also recruit 50,000 strong warriors. The Great Xia Manor has a lot of killings, and if the Great Qin Manor needs them, they can also recruit 50,000 strong warriors. Manager Hu was slightly shocked. Holy shit. He had forgotten about this. 50,000 strongmen, could they afford it? Countless resources had to be consumed every month. The Great Ming Manor did not consume much, but they could afford it. They might not be able to afford it. It was impossible for a person to fly and do nothing for a month. It was impossible for them to rely on themselves to extract vital qi to cultivate. It was more or less the same for the Great Xia Manor. They would need to use vital qi liquid. 1 drop every 3 days would cost at least 10 drops per month. Even if it was cheaper, 1 drop of merit points was the lowest price, right? A month would cost at least 500,000 merit points. This was used for cultivation and was only the foundation. When the army was mobilized, it was impossible for it to only be used for the foundation cultivation. In total, a month of saving would cost at least 1 million merit points. More than 10 million a year. Manager Hu's face changed. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said such nonsense, this. Should I? I want it, I'll bring it back. The Marquis will chop me to death, right? The Great Xia Manor actually didn't lack experts that much. He just saw what Zhu Tiandao said and just happened to think of this matter. He felt that it was a great bargain, and by the way, now. It was over. On the throne, Zhu Tiandao also looked at him curiously. Can your Great Xia Manor afford it? You want it too, what do you want? The Great Ming Manor's combat strength isn't strong, but they're rich. You guys are really rich. He couldn't be bothered with him. Zhu Tiandao ignored him and continued, 30,000 Hercules is fine too. Since the Great Han King has said it, I won't ask for too much. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1267. 1267 Chapter 298, Old Zhu, 4. Then. He continued, I've done both of these things. I don't have too many requests. Finally, let's talk about the important point. Is that invincibility human or foreign? Or, who? Zhu Tiandao said playfully, I can't kill him. I can't bear to kill him. I can't kill him. I don't care about any of this. The key is, if the 2 holy lands give me an accurate answer, will they continue to attack? Is it fun for an invincible person to attack this and that every day? If this continues, my father will do the same next time. You have no evidence. The Great Xia King will do the same. You have no evidence. Since you want to play, I'll play with you. Zhu Tiandao glanced at the heads of the 8 families, he smiled and said, the requirements aren't high. It doesn't matter if you can't kill him. Next time, this invincible will attack. What do you say? The Silkworm Exterminating King and the Great Han King, both of you are in the invincible realm of the human race. I want to know, what do you think? This was the key. An invincible often appeared and often attacked others. Who wouldn't be worried? At this moment, the hall was extremely quiet. The people from the 2 sacred halls didn't say anything. After a long while, someone asked, are you sure it's an invincible expert? Zhu Tiandao leaned back on his chair and said lazily, I'm not sure. I only broke 7 Sun-Moon Divine runes. They might be at Yi Baishan's level. There are even fewer people at this level than invincible experts. Just investigate. The hall became quiet again. The Great Han King tapped his chair lightly. After a while, he said calmly, one after another, they have indeed gone crazy. Whether it is the peak of the Sun-Moon or the Eternal Realm, they are all cancer. I will discuss with the Great Qin King, the Great Zhou King, the Great Xia King, the Great Ming King. If there is a next time, we will thoroughly investigate the Eternal Realm. Whoever stops us, who is in charge, who will bear the responsibility. After saying that, the Great Han King paused and continued, what do you think of this kind of treatment? Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, the Great Han King is fair, so what he said naturally makes sense. I'm just afraid, that it won't be easy to deal with when the time comes. Forget it, since the Great Han King has already said so, what else can I do? If that fellow appears again, then we'll just have to break all the rules together. If you don't let me have it easy, then I'll move my Zhu family members to a small world in the future. I'll let my father guard that small world and live the life of a tyrant by himself. As for the human realm, I'll leave it to everyone to play with. The Great Han King smiled faintly and said, the Great Ming King knows that you said that, so it's probably. Before he could finish speaking, Zhu Tiandao sighed and said, it's not like I said it, my father said it himself. There's no other way. He's gone out and he's worried. This invincible guy even dares to charge to my doorstep, so what should I do? I'm not Xiaolongwu. Xiaolongwu wants to attain Dao, but I don't want to. Zhu Tiandao said indifferently, I want to attain Dao. I'll find a small world to attain Dao. At most, I'll die in the small world for the rest of my life. Who's afraid of who? Isn't it good to be a tyrant? With my father's strength, he can defend the small world. If there aren't 10 or 8 invincible ones, he can't do anything to my father. Even if an invincible human realm warrior enters, if he doesn't kill 1 or 2 of them, it would be a waste of his reputation. The Great Han King laughed lightly, don't spout nonsense. Behind him, the Silkworm Exterminating King also said in a bad mood, shut up, Zhu Tiandao. If you dare to scare me again, I'll teach you a lesson. Zhu Tiandao laughed, it's just a joke. Everyone, don't take it seriously. But let's put it this way. If another invincible warrior dares to attack, then it won't be a joke. When the time comes, everyone will play. I hope everyone will have a good time. Silence. Everyone saw that he was laughing happily, but they could not laugh. Zhu Tiandao said calmly, there's no choice. My heart is hurt, so how can I care about others? Do you really think everyone is a saint? If I don't hit you on the head, you won't suffer. If you persuade others to be kind and magnanimous, how can you have such a big face? You didn't kill your family's child, right? If that invincible kills the Yuan family's child today, the Zhou family's child tomorrow, and the Zhang family's child the day after tomorrow. I advise all of you to be magnanimous and not fuss about it. Think about the big picture. Do you want to do it? If we do it, from tomorrow onwards, people will die every day in your family. Do you believe me? Zhu Tiandao said faintly, isn't it easy for Invincible to assassinate a few suns and moons? My father can do it too. My father can't do it. It's not a problem for me to assassinate 1 or 2 suns and moons of the first or second layer. I advise you to be magnanimous and think about the overall situation of the human realm. Don't be angry. Do you agree? If you agree, I won't fuss about today's matter anymore. I'll just turn around and leave. How about that? Silence. The great Han King was silent for a moment. We know what you said. You're not wrong. This person has already affected the entire situation. If this continues, the hearts of the people will be scattered. It will indeed be difficult to salvage the situation. I don't know who this person is either. If there's a next time, I'll continue to investigate thoroughly. If I can't find out, if someone stops me, the great Han government will make the same choice as you. Are you satisfied? Zhu Tiandao's smile was brilliant. Then there's no problem. This son of AB*TCH doesn't do anything good all day long. One time is enough. It's your luck that you weren't found. Why are you still here? Do you really think that everyone is a fool? Do you really think that you can kill us just because you want to? Don't you even look at the situation? You're acting atrociously within the borders of my damning manner. You really deserve a beating. He cursed a few times and looked at the heads of the 8 great families. He curled his lips and said, if you want to kill, you should kill those trash. No one cares even if you kill them, but you insist on killing us elites. Aren't you looking for trouble? Could it be that you're the trash's father? Cough cough. Among the 8 great clans, an old man said helplessly, Manor-head Jew, there's no point in pointing fingers at the mulberry tree and scolding the locust tree. If we really knew who it was, it would be impossible for us not to take action to solve it. It's still too secretive. You also know the trouble that's involved. We understand a little. As for this time, the Seeker Stage and the War God Hall were unable to react in time. We will bear the blame. However, there are some things that we shouldn't say anymore. If we continue talking, it won't benefit anyone. It will only benefit the others, won't it?